Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tartar Zone. This is Friday Night Contact. I hope you're doing well indeed. And we got Lee joining us here, and I'm pretty sure Chris will be along anytime soon. But welcome, Lee.
Hello, everyone.
Nice to see you.
Happy
Nice to
Friday
see you.
evening. Likewise, how are
See
you?
you. Yeah, I'm good. Ready to go. Got a lot to say tonight and get off my chest, so it's going to be a very interesting watch for everybody. Um, because I've got a lot of things to say actually tonight. But we'll get into it in a second. Let's see who's in the chat. We've got Draw Jack Rabbit in the chat. We got Scottish Davros and Friends Wrestle with Pop Culture. JWC Reviews, TARDIS Spoiler. Bear with me for a minute. I'm just at the finishing of curry, and now it's repeating me. We got Lee Halford in the chat as well. Garbage also joins us. Nice to see so many familiar faces in the chat. I'm just gonna see where our good friend Bowley is, or what he used to be known as Bowley. But let's see where he is. Should be here any second anyway. Because he did say he was, unless he did. He
No, I
did
think he
say
said he might be a bit late because he's working late, so he'll come in when he's back. I think.
did he? Hold on,
Yeah.
maybe he did. It's just that since Elon's taken over Twitter, oh yeah, I might be stuck at work. I start without me, and I can join as soon as I can. Grant. Okay, right. Well, let's get into it. I suppose tonight's topics are very. There's only two major topics really to talk about, I suppose, tonight, because they're the two that's obviously Jordan Super Bowl. All the trailers, as you know, they released some trailers and stuff like that. And the Flash trailer, we'll start off with the Flash news first. We'll get into the other thing after this. But the Flash trailer dropped now. To give you a bit of context, I said I was boycotting this movie because of the lead actor's despicable behavior, and then the trailer dropped. And now I am conflicted. I'm not the only one. Dan from the Space Book as well was saying the same thing. He wasn't going to support this movie because of Ezra Miller, but then they actually had to throw out a good trailer, a bloody epic trailer, if I'm honest about it. I know some of the naysayers are saying, "Oh, but the only reason why we're all excited because Michael Keaton's back as Batman." Nah, the whole trailer was great, but that part was epic. I'm not going to lie. But if you're going to deny the fact that that trailer was nothing but great, well, then you have an agenda, and we'll be talking about agendas later on in on the stream. Anyway, when we talk about Star Trek Picard, we will be doing that. But this trailer was brilliant. Now I'm conflicted. I mean, it's just you've watched the trailer, Lee, obviously, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have seen
Um,
it.
right. So, what are your thoughts on the right? Pretend Ezra Miller isn't a criminal, right? Because
A
he's being
criminal.
charged. Well, you can't me words, right? Stop. Don't be slagging me off now, right? Okay. Let's pretend that he is, right? Ignore all of that, right? And just judge the trailer on its own merits. What did you think of the Flash trailer?
Uh, well, obviously the Michael Keaton is my Batman.
Yeah.
Um, I mean that was glorious to see. I liked I liked how he just sort of turned and said, "Yeah, I know, yeah, I'm the Batman."
Yeah, I'm Batman. Yeah, it was dead.
Yeah, I'm Batman. Whatever, that attitude was pretty cool. He looks great in the Batman outfit. The Batman bits were the bits that made me excited. Two Ezra Millers. One is bad enough. I really don't like him as Barry Allen, the Flash. For me, he's a blonde haired dude and tall, and that suit looks ridiculous. So yeah, two of them. Nah.
Well, you don't like the Flash. We're going to put some
voice.
images up anyway.
Oh, God, his voice.
Yeah, we'll put some of the images up that Lee is talking about. But yeah, there is two of them in this movie. I have to tell you, they've managed to give us 2 Ezra Millers, not just the one, but 2. Whether that was deliberate or not, I don't know. I won't accuse them of being deliberate about it. But in saying that, though, he does seem to have an interesting backstory in this one. Again, it's because of the actor. It's you know.
Well, you notice the little kid Barry Allen running, can't run just like he can't run. So that's quite amusing, I thought. He runs as badly as he. It's like, really? You can't find people who can run to play the Flash?
None of these celebrities nowadays can run, for God's sake. They're bleeding lazy. Look at Whittaker trying to run.
You'd think that, he'd be pretty good at running because he's been on the run for ages.
I knew you were going to. You couldn't resist, could you?
No, I couldn't resist.
You couldn't resist. But, I'm getting up this Michael Keaton Batman costume. Just bear with me for a second. I thought I threw all the images into our chat, but...
Yeah, it's the Batman Returns costume, really, isn't it? Because he's got the sort of bat things around the shoulders, doesn't he? Which was only in the Batman Returns, not the Batman the movie.
There we go.
There's a lot of noise going on.
Yeah, there's a football... Sorry, just in case, I should have warned you. So the football season has started back again. So every second Friday, we're going to have our very own audience track in the background because they're going to be as loud as... So this was him in the Batman costume 30 years ago. Okay, so this is the original costume from 30 years ago.
Oh, it's the Batman Returns costume.
Batman Returns costume, 30 years ago. And here he is now. If the photograph will come up, I did press the arrow, but this Twitter is sentimental, especially when I have guests on.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate Michael Keaton's lips? It looks like a puckered anus, but I mean it's,
hold on, I'm gonna stop this and do it this way because I knew it was gonna do that. Please, Twitter is not working. Yeah, of course it's not. Elon, instead of showing off to your pals and all and correcting newspaper articles about yourself, fix the fucking app. Many times you have to be told, you plonk. I don't care. Right, this is the thing, right? He says that he works hard and all this. I don't doubt that for a second. But he's obviously had to take it on too much. And he shouldn't be taking on too much. That's the thing. So I don't have any... So for anybody out there that says, I should have a bit of sympathy for him, I have absolutely zero sympathy for a man that decided to take all of this on himself. If he wasn't able to handle it, he shouldn't have took it on. Simple as that. Right? So fix your bloody app. It's absolutely disgraceful. I'm seeing tweets from fucking 5 days ago from people.
I know.
Like tweets that I didn't even see either. I'm missing a lot of stuff now thanks to this new algorithm. Right? Because you know why he's doing that? He's doing that so we buy his Twitter Blue. We're not going to buy your Twitter Blue because you're still censoring people left, right, and centre. And nobody's going to support you as long as you keep censoring people for other people. Right? So get with the fucking program.
Yeah, I got shadow banned again for complaining about anti-Semitism that was levied at me, and I was trying to draw attention to it, and it wouldn't let me. It was ridiculous. Anyway.
Oh, for God's sake, it's glitching again. What is going on?
Oh, there we go. Hold on, nearly. It's loading. It's thinking.
Can you see it? You can see it glitching, can't you? You can actually see it glitching on screen.
Yeah, it's thinking. It's got the thinky wheel.
There.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. Finally. So there he is again. There he is now. That cheeky smile was great. You knew exactly. You knew exactly what he was doing. That line was just so perfect as well. And then the bit that I loved was when he jumped down and he actually kicked ass. Now you don't see it quite clear, but you can see that he's kicking ass. And then Ben Affleck's Batman comes into it then, and he just looks epic. Oh man! Look, the Batman
he's got the,
stuff,
blue and grey outfit, hasn't he?
Yeah. The Batman stuff is going to be very good in this movie. I will say the Ezra Miller's backstory the backstory to Barry Allen in this does look interesting, but the moral dilemma is here: can we actually support this movie because of the lead actor? You know, this is kind of different to other things where we kind of try to separate the artist from the actual individual. Can we do it in this case? I was adamant I wasn't going to give this movie a go, and I'm still right now not going to give the movie a go. But that trailer has made it very hard for me, because if I don't watch, then I feel like I'm missing out. Everybody's going to be talking about it, and then I'm just going to be sitting here with me morals intact, but I'm going to miss out on potentially one of the best superheroes. Remember, James Gunn has hyped this up to bits, and the trailer delivered. That's the thing. James Gunn hyped this movie to bits, and then the trailer delivered. So maybe this is a good movie. But
apparently it rated quite highly. It rated quite highly with the test audience.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I don't know.
So here's the thing. I'll ask everybody in the chat. Lee, I'll get your opinion on it now. I know you want to continue and add on to what you were, but first, just so we can get a bit of interaction with the chat. So, is there anybody in the chat that was like us, that wasn't going to watch the movie, now after watching the trailer might have changed their opinion? Or is there people in the chat that are still not going to watch this movie no matter what, because you think obviously the DCEU is dead anyway? Right, so let me know what your opinion's in, and Lee is going to continue with the point that he was making. Sorry for cutting across you there. Just wanted to get a bit of interaction with people in the chat.
We've got Luke Skywalker in the chat there saying, hello, everyone. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you too, yeah.
And with you,
yeah. Anyway.
Well, look, I don't think we can sit here pontificating like some people on Twitter about what you can and cannot see. I think it's really down to the individual conscience. I mean, can you separate the art from the artist? That's very much it. It's on your own conscience. No one's. I don't think there's a wrong answer or a right answer.
No.
Bearing in mind as well that there's not just Ezra Miller who's involved and his paycheck. There's people who spent time and effort and whatever to be, to bring this film into being. So I mean, there's that. If you want to support them, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know where I sit. I haven't really thought about it. I'm not particularly keen on Supergirl, Super they them in that story. It just looks a bit ridiculous. We thought the costume was pretty bad from the pictures we saw leaked on set, but it looks really, really naff, even in post. The CGI looked a bit naff with Supergirl, stroke Superboy, stroke Super them. So I don't know. I mean, like, is Michael Keaton's Batman enough to bring me back into it? I mean, the poster also hints at the Batwing, so we're going to see lots of member berries. I don't know. I feel a bit manipulated, don't you?
Actually, JWC Reviews there makes a good point, though. Robert Downey Jr. did some dodgy things. Well, I mean, he was locked up for drugs, wasn't he? I don't think that's... But Matthew Broderick... Matthew Broderick did. He did actually... But here's the thing, anyway. The place where he lives there with Sarah Jessica Parker 4 or 5 months of the year. So, apparently... It was, it might have been dangerous drive, but it was an accident. But yeah, that is dodgy because someone did die. A lot of the Hollywood leading actors and ladies, if you actually read their backstory, some of them all actually do have a dark past, some more than others. So you do make a valid point. In Northern Ireland, he got done for it. Well, I didn't know that part, so there you go. So I didn't know that. So yeah, he's went on to have a successful career. Well, if you call his career successful. Not a big fan of Matthew Broderick, to be quite honest with you myself. So
Back in the
the only
80s.
the only movie I liked him in was Inspector Gadget, the first one. I mean, it
Ferris
was
Bueller's Day Off. I mean, come on. Classic.
yeah. Let me tell you about that. Um, yeah, at one time I liked that movie and I could understand why everybody liked it, but if you actually watch it now, it's not as good as everybody makes it out to
Oh,
be.
come on.
It's actually a pile of crap,
No,
if I'm honest.
great fun. Great fun.
Yeah, I know you think it's great fun.
It is.
We all have different tastes, so you know.
I loved the bit where the school headmaster turns up at the house and then the sister just punches him in the face repeatedly. That's beautifully done. Beautifully done. But anyway.
Anyway, I just want to see. I think they show you Supergirl's costume, so we might as well. I thought I posted all these photographs into our fucking chat, Lee, and they seem to have disappeared. I remember the night of the Super Bowl. I was actually thrown in the photographs. So I thought, but they don't seem to be here now, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, just talking about the Super Bowl. So 100 million people tuned in for the Super Bowl. Apparently everybody was getting excited about that and saying, oh, it was the world's most watched game. Well, it was until last night, until my team, Manchester United, took on the mighty Barcelona in Spain, and they got 110 million viewers worldwide. The biggest sporting event this year. And the sequel comes on Thursday. So, my club's smashing it with all records. So, fuck is a Super Bowl. Super Bowl. I only watch Puppy Bowl. That's what I watched with Ted and Cheryl the other day when the Super Bowl was on. We watched Puppy Bowl. And if you don't know what Puppy Bowl is, it's a load of dogs on a football field, as they call it. And we just watch them run around and do shit. It's quite funny. No, I don't have these photographs available. I don't know what side that chat is completely like void of everything that I put in it. I don't know, Elon. I'm not happy with you, mate. I'm not. Twitter is frozen now.
Oh dear, technical issues.
Why does Supergirl right? Can forget about the fact, right, that people have a problem with the way Supergirl. Supergirl isn't a white person, right? What's the story with Supergirl having short hair, though? I mean, what's that gag all about, man? Why do leading female leads now? Why do they always have to have short hair? What was wrong with having? Remember the old Supergirl, long blonde hair, bleeding beautiful looking actress as well. But what is this? I mean, what is this? Oh, she looks like a bloke, man. I'm sorry, but I mean.
It's amazing she doesn't have it the side shaved as well, because that seems to be the current day thing.
And didn't they stop putting Supergirl in a skirt as well? Apparently, because you can't have sexy women anymore. Sure, you seen what they did with Nebula. Karen Gillan, Nebula has no boobs now. They got rid of her boobs. She doesn't have boobs.
She looks like a trunk.
Yeah, she fell off. She's a tomboy now. Like, they've been shrinking. Every movie they've been shrinking. Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1 was where they were at their biggest. Even watch Part 2, they're smaller. And in the third one now, latest one now, she absolutely has none. But there's the poster for Supergirl's costume. And of course, she was brought in to replace, obviously, Henry Cavill, if the rumors are to be believed. That's so there she is there. Yeah.
I mean, she
Um,
looks. I mean, she is pretty in general, but like Supergirl, really? No,
well, do you
it's
know
one of
what though?
those
I mean, we haven't
DC
watched.
52, isn't it? That new reboot or whatever it was that they did.
Yeah, but
The
in
new
fairness, though,
52.
we haven't actually seen. We haven't. I haven't actually seen her in that, right? So, I mean, until I actually see her in an action, I won't be able to judge her performance. To be quite honest, I'm not going to jump ahead, but I could see why people are complaining. But I don't like the idea, and I'm just going to be honest. I don't like the idea. Supergirl, uh, in the same costume, basically. Supergirl doesn't wear trousers; she wears a little red skirt. And if you're afraid to put a woman in a little red skirt, well, then you have real issues. If I'm honest,
Bearing in
you
mind the
must.
miniskirt was invented by feminists in the 60s,
I
so you
know.
know it's quite amusing.
I
And
do.
it's
Yeah.
because of the male gaze. It's like, well, you know, lesbians like watching as well. You know, I just don't understand why this is a thing. It's you know, try and keep it with the comics that are popular, not the comics that aren't. And the new 52 Supergirl isn't popular. Simple as that.
Right. I'm just trying to find Ezra Miller's Flash costume that Lee was talking about. Yeah, it's all lit up.
Yeah, what's with these slopey shoulders?
I don't know,
It's got like
but
really slopey shoulders.
I don't know what it is about it, but
It just looks wrong. It just
it
doesn't look right
doesn't
to me.
it. No, I have to agree with you on that one. The
I mean,
costumes.
it's better than the you know. I'd never understood why they put him in armor. Why would the Flash need armor like that? That's just
Yeah,
gonna
I think they
slow
were
him
trying to be,
down.
yeah, like Iron Man, for God's sake. I think they
I
were
don't
going for that
understand.
kind of look, you know. Um,
Just looked wrong and cumbersome.
Surprisingly, there's very little images of this. Right,
Yeah,
here's
they
the
seem to be
full
going for.
Batman. Here's the
They
full
seem to be going
Batman
for that
poster.
new the new 52 all round. Yeah, I mean, it's just not popular. I don't know why they. Well, we know why they do because they're morons. That's why.
We'll still get still though. I mean, look, there's hopefully Chris is able to come in and talk a little bit about the Flash as well. So this comes out actually on the 16th, so a few days before my birthday. So that's good. All of these
I love
movies
that.
seem to be coming around June, which is great.
Love
The
that
month
bat
of my birthday must
symbol.
be great because we get so many. There it is. The
Love that
bat
bat
symbol that
symbol.
I
The
fell
proper bat symbol.
the Batman that I fell in love with. The Batman that, and don't get me wrong, I loved Adam West Batman growing up as a kid as well. But when I seen Michael Keaton in the role, and I even
What's
remember
that
as a kid,
face? What's that face he's pulling though? It looks like he's farted and is happy about it. It's
it's
so
just the
weird.
poster, or maybe Twitter has distorted the fucking thing. I don't know,
It
man.
just
My
looks
Twitter is
weird.
all
His
over the
face looks
place.
weird. It looks
Yeah.
weird.
Anyway, I can't wait to see him in this movie. He will be a highlight. But I'm also delighted for Ben Affleck. Have to be honest. I think Ben Affleck has been treated fucking. You know, I know he had his troubles and stuff like that, but as soon as he had his troubles, like, you know, that was it. Everything just went to the wayside. We were supposed to get movies with him and all, and I'm being
Yeah,
honest with
well,
you. A lot of people
it's
weren't
very
convinced.
interesting. It's very interesting that they've opted to remove Cavill. It just seems they just don't know what they're doing. I mean, they keep Ezra, but they get rid of
No,
Cavill.
here it is. Here's the picture. It's the
It's
only one
such
I
a
can get my hands
mad,
on.
mad, tone deaf decision.
I think I know why they got rid of Henry. I think it's completely obvious why they got rid of Henry.
Well, it is obvious because he's a fanboy. He's a
No,
fanboy.
but not
He's
only that,
a.
no, but it's not just that. We've always known that Henry is very
I was
opinionated and he
getting
like,
to it.
yeah,
I
but
was
that's
getting
not
to
why.
it.
That's not why he was. You're wrong, though. You're
Okay,
wrong.
you
I
tell
know
us because
exactly.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
tell you.
I will. I will tell you. The reason why he was sacked, the reason why they got rid of him was because he was the start of the Snyderverse, right? Now, James Gunn is trying to get miles away from that as much as possible. So he had to get rid of Henry. He couldn't keep Henry
That doesn't
and still
make
have
sense.
the Snyder. Of course, he couldn't keep
No,
Henry.
it doesn't
because
make-
if he
yeah,
kept
but you-
Henry, because if he
You've
kept
got Ezra
Henry and went
Miller.
along- yeah, I know. I get what you're saying about Ezra Miller, but that's not the way he's looking
You got
at
Ben
it,
Affleck.
right? Yeah, but who started off the Snyderverse? Man of Steel.
Doesn't no, that's bollocks.
Superman.
It's got nothing to do with that.
Superman.
No, they,
it is.
they
It's
want to
got
get rid of
everything
it.
to do with it. It's
No,
got everything to do with
they
it.
got rid of him because two things. One, he represents the fans. He's difficult to work with, according to them. And the other thing is that he's in his 40s, isn't he now? So they want to do a younger Superman. So that's really the reason.
Yeah, Gunn didn't make the Flash movie, but as soon as he went in there, you're not going to tell me that he didn't have any influence over the movie if the movie is going to actually completely reboot the DCEU. Of course he did. Of course he did, and he would have made changes, and Henry was probably originally in that movie, and they made sure that Henry was taken out of that movie. Seriously,
Yes.
did say that James Gunn had nothing to do with the movie? Of course he did. He's the one that's banging on that this is a great movie. He's the one that's saying that this movie is going to reboot the DCEU. He has had a hand in that movie.
Well, he's probably had a hand in reshaping it before release.
Of course he has. Yeah, that way.
Get
Yes.
rid of
Yeah,
any of the cameos, at the end.
You're right, because if you look at the way what Snyder did, right, with his Snyder cut, you know what I mean? Brought back, they filmed extra scenes or whatever, did the rest CGI, bang, put the movie together. There's the Justice League Snyder cut. You know what I mean? Be the same with the Flash. It was edited one way. He probably looked at everything that was thrown on the floor, pull it back together like a jigsaw puzzle, and shape it the way he wants to reboot this whole universe. But it wasn't. Look, you have a point that maybe there was a little bit of that because Henry is a fanboy. But be under no illusion, James Gunn wouldn't have wanted him because he's trying to steer away from the Snyderverse altogether. I mean, even some Snyder fan made the point, and it's never going to happen. And I think people need to wake up and you need to smell the coffee. It's never going to happen. So people said, well, let the Snyderverse live on HBO Max. Do you think James Gunn and whoever the other fella is that's in charge is going to say to Snyder, yeah, go ahead, make a show of us on HBO Max? Because we've seen the start of James Gunn's slate. We've seen what he's proposed, and let's be honest, it's not getting any of us excited, is it? So then all of a sudden you give Snyder free reign on HBO Max to complete what he started, and it outshines what Gunn is doing. Never going to happen. The Snyder fans, sorry, you need to accept the fact that the Snyderverse is dead. I think DC fans need to accept the fact that the DCEU is also dead, and James Gunn's slate is dead on arrival. Superhero genre, or whatever you want to call it, is gone tired and stale. It needs a break. Even Kevin Feige from Marvel has said they won't be pumping out as many DC shows as they have in previous years because they're going to focus more on content, focus more on creating better quality programs than throwing out content after content. So Kevin Feige has actually admitted that stuff that they've been throwing out for years is not good enough. That's basically what he's telling you, right? So there's already a shift going on. There's no way in hell Snyder is ever going to finish what he started while James Gunn is there. Simple as that. Snyder is out and he's here, and his vision, James Gunn's vision for it, is dead on arrival. It's dead on arrival. I don't even know half of these characters that he's introducing. Half of the audience out there won't have a clue. And even some of the people that follow the comic books have said that some of these characters are so obscure that, even they will find it hard and a struggle to get through this. So it's not going to work, man. It's not going to work. Henry is gone. Once they sacked Henry, that was it. That was it. Snyderverse was dead, and it's never coming back. So you can, see, this is what the Warner Brothers. This is the biggest mistake that they made. They gave. Sorry, we just
Hey.
scored a goal. Patch just scored. Yay! We scored a goal. About bleeding time, you bunch of muppets. Anyway, what was I saying before that interrupted me there? I was on a good bleeding fucking rant here. Right, yeah. It's
Yes,
not
because
going
you don't have any guests on, do you?
right. So we don't. It's not going to happen, right? So Schneider fans need to accept it's done. When Henry was sacked, that was it. It was done, right? The DCEU is done, right? Marvel is done. Quantum Mania, right? I've already seen the early reviews of that, but I'll watch it myself. But it's not looking good for that movie either. Look, it's ran out of steam. It's ran out of steam, and that's the end of it.
It's
It's done.
fatigue. It's
Yeah.
fatigue. People are fed up being given sloppy, thrown together crap, messaging primarily more important than story and characters. Characters treated awfully. And it's, look, the whole multiverse thing as well is such a lazy trope. It just confuses people. It doesn't help anything. It just makes everything really, really contrived and far too complex for what it should be, which is just a superhero flick. People want fun. They want entertainment. They want things that are familiar, like as in the comic books. It's not that difficult. It really isn't that difficult. Look, it's way too early to see where it's going to go with Gunn in charge. We'll have to wait and see. What he dropped as his plan going forward looks very light. It doesn't look very engaging.
There's no hard hitters, Lee. There's no hard hitting characters.
There really isn't. No.
They're all middle of the road or obscure characters that we've never heard of. Now, I get people will say, well, we've overdone Batman, we've overdone Superman, we've overdone these other main characters. Well, what about doing something on Joker? I know we got the Joaquin Phoenix one, but why not do a story on the Joker or something? Or a story, I know you did Birds of Prey with Harley Quinn, he's messy. They couldn't even do Harley Quinn properly. Do you know what I mean? Even when they have tried. So I don't know. I think it's fatigue. I think people are fed up with it now at this stage. I mean, I've seen photographs of the first day that Quantum Mania is out in the cinemas and there's nobody in it. Nobody is actually in. The people are putting up photographs of empty cinemas. Nobody's going to watch this movie. Now, in fairness, they're probably going during the day, so you wouldn't get as much during the day. You know that as well as I do. It's the nighttime viewers maybe that would, but it's not looking good for that movie. It's not looking good. They've hyped that movie up as well, and that movie looks like it's going to flop as well.
Well,
and when you compare it, when you say it's as good as what was that second Black Panther movie called?
Wakanda
Forever. Yeah. Well, they said it's the best one since that. So if you say Quantumania is the best one since that second movie, well then you've already lost me because the second
dead.
movie, yeah, Black Panther was crap. I'm sorry, but everybody made a big deal out of Black Panther, for obvious reasons. But Black Panther was a shite movie. Sorry, but there you go. I said it.
Well, I spoke to the Movie Cynic, an excellent YouTuber. Go and check him out. He has watched Quantumania and has come back and just said it's awful. And the villain MODOK looks nothing like how he is in the comic books at all. It just looks like I can't explain it. It just looks so wrong. Because he showed us a thumbnail of his upcoming video for the review that he's doing, and I was shocked. No effort went into it whatsoever. It just looks ridiculous. So yeah, I just think they're throwing everything at the wall to see what will stick. and I think that they're just shooting themselves in the foot at this point. I think, you know, superheroes have become a much harder sell than they used to be, because you can't keep giving people what they don't want and expecting them to chew it up. You got to give them the hard hitters. You got to give them the Supermans, the Batmans, the Spider-Mans, all these kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to be creative minds. So it doesn't matter how many times you do these stories, you're supposed to be the best in the business. So if you aren't fucking competent enough to come up with brand new stories for these characters, well, then you are in the wrong job. And Nicholas Horton says that he's going to give listen, I'll watch Guardians of the Galaxy myself, because I think it's the only decent. It's been a decent franchise. Don't get me wrong, it has. It's been one of the few decent franchises that are left. But you know, it might do well, but I just think there's audience fatigue out there.
But if they kill Rocket Raccoon, there'll be riots. Simple as that. You can't. No. There's
Listen,
like a lot of talk about that. I'm not sure.
Multiple characters are dying in that story. If you look at the trailer and you see the mood and the tone of that trailer and the way they're talking about family and stuff, multiple characters are dying off in that one. I'm telling you.
Whenever anyone mentions family in any context
Then
for anything, you know that they're gonna die.
you know already, man. You know already it's gonna happen.
Big mistake.
But they don't care. This is the thing. They say that they care. They don't care. If they care, they listen to the audience. Listen, people do want Superman, but not the Superman that James Gunn is proposing. Right? People do want Batman. You can do Batman again. People will argue that it's overdone, but you can do Batman again. You could have Ben Affleck's Batman look, he proved a lot of people wrong. I said give him a go from day one. I said, look, we all judged Heath Ledger as the Joker, and then he blew us all away. You know, Ben Affleck can do the same, right? And he did. He played a great Batman. People will argue whether he was a good Bruce Wayne or not. That's beside the point. For me, it's Batman, right? And for
it's very simple. Look, Batman and the Joker in a film, like they are in the comic books, like they look like in the comic books, it's a sure hit. End of story. You know, it's not difficult. It really isn't. They've never, ever done Batman and the Joker as it has been in the comic books on screen ever. Not once.
Except for the animations. The animations have
Except for the yeah, okay, I'll give you that. The animations are the closest you've got. That's what people want, though.
Yeah.
Look at how successful those animations were.
Yeah. I would love them to do a live action version of The Killing Joke, part 1 and 2. Also, I love that one where I forget the name of it, but Batman was in Victorian time. The story was changed.
Gotham by Gaslight.
Yeah, that one. I thought that was great as well, man. I love that. That would be a great live action movie to do. Look, there's plenty they could do. I don't think. Look, everybody is blowing smoke up James Gunn's ass because of Guardians of the Galaxy and all of this other stuff that he's done. A Suicide Squad, which I didn't think was a very good movie anyway, right? At the end of the day, he's not listening, right? And when he did listen, the first thing he decided to do was do what every content creator, or every creator does when their backs are to the wall: blame us and call us a bunch of bigots, right? Because people were complaining about Henry gone. He doesn't care, right? He only cares about. But he says he's going to do the product that fans love. He's not. He's doing the stuff that he loves, and he's hoping everybody else will follow him on this journey. That's not the way it should be. He shouldn't be doing
all the stuff that he put first, like the first 2 or 3, were all related in some way to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
All right. You got two other sort of Suicide Squad type things,
spin-offs,
and then you got what's her face from the Suicide Squad. I can't remember the character's name. Begins with W. Someone in the chat.
Oh yeah, woman. What's her face?
Oh yeah, my brain's
Viola Davis.
Yeah, Viola Davis.
Yeah, she's getting her
and of course,
yeah.
And of course, one of those is because his wife's involved. You know, like really. It's just
That's
so
what I mean. They seem to be
nepotistic.
vanity.
You know.
They seem to be vanity projects, mate. And that's not. I'm sorry. Fair enough. You know, if you're building a whole universe, yes, you don't begrudge a director or creator having at least one or two little vanity projects within the. But don't start off with vanity projects because you're sending the wrong message to the fandom. You've already told them they're a bunch of bigots and dickheads because Henry is gone. You know, you're supposed to be winning fans back over after that comment, not like pushing them further away. I mean, listen, I don't know half of these characters that he's introducing, right? And that's the thing. I don't think he realizes it's all well and good for you to do comic book stuff and to create exactly like the comic book or whatever. But you've got to remember, it's got a mainstream audience as well, Mr. Gunn. So you've got to put stuff in there for your mainstream audience as well. And that's why they kind of DC and Marvel and all of these other companies stick with the main characters because everybody knows them. Like, how dumb do you have to be nowadays? Anyway, let's see who's in the chat. We got Nicholas Horton Leland has joined us as well. We've got Chums Fan 1243, TARDIS Spider in the chat, and we got PD Rich there as well in the chat. I suppose we'll move on to our next topic, and then when Chris just comes on, we'll just get him to give his opinions on both. So let's get into Star Trek Picard. And I've got a lot of things to get off my chest tonight because, you know, I said it in the last stream, right? Listen. Yes, I'm very opinionated. Yes, Jordan Doctor Who's time, I did tell people not to watch and to boycott and all of that stuff, right? When looking back and thinking about it, it wasn't my place to do so, right? My job as a YouTuber is to just give my opinion and inform the fandom. My job is not to dictate to fans what they should and shouldn't watch, okay? Now, there's been a lot of furore over the Star Trek universe because of Kurtzman and what's it, Goldsman or Goldsmith, whatever he's bleeding now. I don't care who it is, right? Ava Goldsman or something, whatever. Right? Don't really give a crap, right? Now, I was called a hypocrite today. So I'm going to explain to you very quickly why I'm not a hypocrite, right? So, as you all know, right, Doctor Who has been in a bad shape for the last 5 years. Now, in all those 5 years, Doctor Who didn't improve one iota. Not one bit. Never improved over the 5 years, the 3 seasons that we got. Not once, right? Lee will back me up on that. It didn't improve, right? Now, Star Trek is different. Yes, Discovery is shite. Yes, Lower Decks is absolutely rubbish. It's the worst Star Trek I ever seen in my life. Me and Lee couldn't even finish it. It was that fucking dire, right? We watched the whole of the 4th season of Picard, and we were, by the end of the last episode of that season, I was literally broken from it. Not gonna lie, it was a travesty, right? I got a couple of episodes into Series 2, and I think we gave up on the watch-alongs on that. But then we start hearing murmurings that season 3 of Picard was going to be different. And of course, we're all cynical, and we all have been cynical, and we said, no way, it's gonna be trash, it's gonna be rubbish. But then they released a show called Strange New Worlds. Now, everything was on this show's back, right? Everything, right? Kurtzman was hated by fans. The Star Trek fandom has been in uproar. You know, you've got big main voices out there like Doomcock, who I will be talking about in a little bit later on, who were against this, and rightly so at the time. But then Strange New Worlds was released, and Alex Kurtzman wasn't writing any of those episodes, and it was actually decent Star Trek. It was the best Star Trek that we've actually had, especially from this so-called Kurtzman era of Star Trek, right? So I was very impressed. A couple of other people, like Chris, watched it, was impressed. If I'm correct in saying, Robert Meyer Burnett, who's a big Star Trek head, was I think at first he was a little bit coy, but then by the end of the show, I think he loved it. It's the same with Picard. Apparently, he loves that. But here's the thing: this is why it doesn't make me a hypocrite. Star Trek and the people behind it, with Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Prodigy, I'd put in there, even though it's a cartoon. And now this first episode of the third season, which I've watched. And I can tell you now that there is an absolutely fundamental shift in this era of Kurtzman. Whatever's gone on behind the scenes, there seems to be some changes have taken place. Because that first episode of season 3 I was not expecting to sit there and actually have a smile on my face and love everything about what I just watched. Now, Doomcock is saying that we're being fooled. By the way, Doomcock's actual quote is, I'll put up his quote is, Doomcock says you're pathetic, right? You're as pathetic as Kurtzman thinks you are if you support the third season of Star Trek Picard. Now, as you can see, scrolling there, I wrote it there, and I said I disagree. And I do disagree. Now, I'm just going to actually throw up his tweet, because you know what? This is why I'm angry, right? And I know there are a few of you in here that are fans of him, right? But I'm just going to tell you now, right? And I've said this plenty of times, right? I don't listen to him anymore, right? I have lost all respect for him a long time ago. You know, he made broken promises to me, but it's not just about the broken promises. It's the fact that he's been lying about Kathleen Kennedy for the last few years, and he's all just ignored that for some weird reason. It's all right for him to lie, right? Everybody else gets called out for putting out rumors, including myself, even though my rumors have been more legit than that, and he's ever put out, right? And I still got it in the neck, but he seems to be immune to it all. But now he's decided he's going to take it into his own hands to dictate to the rest of us, right? Because we're watching Star Trek Picard. Now, he tried to do a little bit of a U-turn, right? Which I'll show you as well. But I'm just going to tell you one thing about that guy, right? I don't trust that comes out of his mouth. I don't believe him. I think he's untrustworthy, right? And I think that he's using his own personal agenda and he's hating towards Kurtzman, right, to fuel his channel, right? Because that's all he does, right? He's always complaining, right? Never has anything positive to say, right? And then gets his nose rubbed and gets upset when other people start to enjoy stuff. And he thinks, because he thinks he's the savior of the fandom, as he calls himself, or whatever, or savior of pop culture, or whatever the fuck he calls himself, right? He thinks that it's okay now for him to go around and dictate the fans on what they can and can't watch and get his nose out of joint because people are praising it. I don't know who the hell you think you are, for starters, anyway, right? And I know none of the other big YouTubers will call you out because they're all a bunch of fucking pussies. That's the bottom line, right? I'm going to call you out, right? How fucking dare you tell people in this fandom that they're pathetic, right? Because they decided to give Star Trek Picard Season 3 a chance. The funny thing is, then, you even actually admit in a tweet that it's better than Season 1 and 2. So why are you hating on it? Right? And why are you dictating to fans, right? You know what? I'm done with you. I'm done. This guy, you listen, guys, right? I can't tell you who to follow. Can't tell you, anything like that. But I find that I can't get my head around why people would follow a guy like that when all he's ever done is talk crap. All that's ever come out of his mouth is shite. He even come up with this whopper of a Doctor Who rumor that Taiwan was stopping Doctor Who being shown in China because of that black man. And that's exactly the way he quoted it, by the way. Because of that black man. No such fucking thing. Right? We actually told you and showed you the reason why. Because it was a sci-fi show that deals with time travel, but also deals with history, and Doctor Who on the Chibnall had a lot of historicals. And in the Chinese film board, if they don't agree with the version of history that these shows actually portray, they won't show it in the country. That was the reason why Doctor Who wasn't shown in China. But this guy tries to blame Taiwan on it. And this is I'm serious, man. I don't know how people still follow this fraud. I'll say it. What's he gonna do? Sue me? I've got nothing to sue me for. Sue me all you fucking want. He's a fraud, right? That's all he is, and that's all he's ever been, right? And the cheek of him thinking that he could go around. And remember, this is a guy that hides behind a mask, doesn't even show his real fucking face either, right? So he hides behind his mask when he's spewing this rubbish, right? He hasn't got the balls to show his face. When he did a video with Jeremy, he puts a plastic bag over his head. Done with this fella. So people need to call this fella out. For far too long, people have been silent about him, right? He's put nothing but spew shite the past few years. None of these rumors have ever came true. None of them. But yeah, he goes around with a stupid hashtag and gets his mates in the media. Oh, Doomcock was right. Doomcock has never been right. I've got more of a hit rate than he has, right? I've put out more right, true rumors than he's ever put out. He hasn't put out one single rumor that has come true. Kathleen Kennedy is still in a job. He's saying she's gone, 7, 8 years now. Wake up, right? Like Notre Dame, he'll eventually be fucking right, won't he? Because you say it so fucking often, they say it's going to happen this time, it'll eventually happen. And she will be stepping down. And then he'll take credit for that and say, oh, Doomcock was right. This is a guy that said he wasn't even going to watch the backtrack. But here he is, supporting Pucard, right? Season 3. It's just proving you're as pathetic as Kurtzman always thought you were. It says Hollywood can shit all over you for years, and as soon as they sprinkle member berries on the shit, you lap it up again, like all good little sheep do. Pathetic. But then he goes on in another tweet, which I'll show you, and he actually says that he watched it. So are you just a pathetic little sheep too then? Or are you just a fucking hypocrite in a gimp mask that talks to a little fucking invisible puppet, a fake little puppet? You ain't the savior of nothing. All you are is a fucking liar and a fucking disgrace. How dare you tell people, right, what they can and cannot watch? That is not your job as a YouTuber. Do you know what's happened to you? You've let all the years and graces get to you. You've let your subscribers get to your fucking head. And now you think you're this big, mighty fucking thing that could tell people what to do. Well, you won't tell me what to do, and you won't call me pathetic, and you won't call other fans out there pathetic for trying to get something to go. Because when Hollywood do deliver something actually decent, which they actually have, right, people will watch. Okay? People will watch. And it's not just about member berries. You clearly haven't watched the episode properly. There was a story there. Right? There was a plot there. Right? There was great character development there. What more do you want? Seriously, what more do you want? Right? Now let's watch the backtracks then. Because he obviously got a little bit of stick, right? And then he goes, oh, I want to praise all my fellow YouTuber content creators who watch this showing to report on it. No, you got called out, so you decided to backtrack like the little fucking rat that you are, right? That's what you did, right? Because you have a fucking cheek and a nerve to tell people what they can and can't review, and if they like it, what's your problem? Seriously, this man's been getting on my tits the last couple of months, and you are all, listen, yeah, this man should call, right? He's lied, right? He's basically made his channel off lies, and you are all, and I get fucking for putting out legit rumours out in this fucking fandom. And you get a guy that's been lying for the last 7-8 fucking years about Kathleen Kennedy and other rumours in the fandom, and yeah, nobody says that to him. He gets a free fucking pass.
Your audio is breaking up. I don't know if you're hitting something.
Anyway, can you all hear me, yeah? The audio is breaking up because I'm probably loud. Sorry.
No, I think what it was is that you were scrolling through Twitter and it was affecting your
yeah, because I wanted to get up the other little tweet where he backtracks like the little bitch that he is. Well, simple as that. Here it is.
I know
you don't want to get involved, and I'm not getting you involved. This was me. This was me calling him out. I just want to make clear that I don't even know if my co-hosts agree with me or not, but this is me calling him out. Nobody else, okay? I wanted to do this. So nobody have a go at Lee or Chris. This is all me, all right? This is all me. Want to make that fucking clear. But here's his little backtrack. And I salute my fellow YouTubers and critics with the intestinal fortitude to sit through Picard Season 3. These folks sacrifice so you don't have to. They are to be commended. Like, I mean, who the fuck did, the way you're even talking about other YouTubers, like you're a YouTuber, you're a gobshite on a computer like me, right? You're nothing fucking special, all right? And they're not sitting through Picard, right? Some have praised it. This is your backtrack because you got called out for telling people what to do, right? And don't be telling people what to do. It's not your job as a YouTuber to tell people what to do, right? And by the way, I'll say it again, right? If you're watching these, my advice to you is now, and this is what I go with all the time now. My advice to you guys is as simple as this. If you want to judge a movie or a TV show, you don't listen to us, right? We can give our opinions on it, right? But our job's not to tell you whether to watch or not to watch. But at the end of the day, the only way you will ever really find out whether something is good or bad is to watch it yourself, right? Don't be listening. Listen, we kind of depended on YouTubers because the mainstream critics let us down. But some of these YouTubers are just as bad. They have agendas, right? And even if something is good, they can't even bring themselves, right? And even when he does talk about the fact that he watched it and he thinks he's better, he can't actually bring himself to say the words out loud because he's fueled by his hate for Kurtzman, that he can't see past it. Kurtzman, yes, executive producer, blah, 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 might have a bit of writing credit, but you could tell that this man doesn't have his greasy paws all over this show, just like he didn't with Strange New Worlds. But at the end of the day, as I said, you don't even have to listen to me, right? Go and watch it yourself, right? Now, there we go. Here it is. To be fair, Picard Season 3 is better than Picard Season 1 and 2. But then again, so is a colonoscopy. So that's not saying much. Frankly, a colonoscopy is better than Picard Season 3 because at least you could sleep through a colonoscopy. And a colonoscopy leaves you less full of shit. But you literally said and contradicted yourself. You literally said that Season 3 is better than Season 1 and 2. So what's your fucking issue? Right? What's your fucking issue? You just want to keep going fueling the hate because it drives your revenue, right? You're not sincere. You're not being honest with your audience. You're literally telling your audience that it is better, but because you didn't like season 1 and 2. That was it. I wonder how you felt about Deep Space Nine, because Deep Space Nine starts off shit. It's only when it gets into its later seasons it was good. Did you have the same opinion back then? Or are you just now because you run a YouTube channel? But never dictate. You have crossed the line, and you've let your subs get to your head. You don't dictate to your audience and tell them what they can and can't watch. And how dare you call people pathetic for watching the show? What I think is pathetic is the fact that a grown man in a mask, or a gimp mask, whatever you want to call it, is ranting and raving because people are enjoying something that you're not. That's how pathetic you are, you little crybaby. Now you and Harvey go off somewhere and fuck off and leave the rest of us to enjoy what we want to enjoy. How fucking dare you? But anyway, into the episode itself. It was absolutely, seriously, it starts off at a bit of a fast pace. We're introduced to Beverly. And it was great to see her back. Have you watched the episode, Lee? Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Have you watched the episode?
No, I haven't watched it. Look,
Well, it's on that.
Yeah, I know.
place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, and this is my take on it, and this just my own take. Okay, I like Strange New Worlds. I thought it was the most Star Trek-y we've had. And I know that's not always. That's a very divisive thing, right? A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people did like it. Whatever, it's fine. With Picard, I don't know. I mean, I've not seen season 1. I've not seen season 2, obviously, because I had no interest. For me, when I heard that he'd been killed, right, and turned into basically an android.
Yeah, like Data. Yeah.
Yeah, it just it's not Picard. Really, it's not. And why would you put Picard in an old man's body? Robot. It just didn't make sense to me. Anyway, that aside, that's Kurtzman trait. Now I understand that what they've done with season 3 is that they put Kurtzman in the back room somewhere so he can take all the credit and not be anywhere near it, which is a good thing. From what I've understood, what I've heard about it is, I heard Gary from Nerderotic talk about it and was quite complimentary about it. And that obviously the guy who's really in charge, I can't remember his name, has made it more Star Trek-y.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, if this is a success, I'm in two minds, because I think the negative side of it is that people's expectations will rise. If Kurtzman does come back in and claim all the credit, then he'll go off and make something else with Star Trek, and it will carry on under him and still be shit. The good side of it that I can see is that if it is a success with season 3, that means that obviously Kurtzman, because anyone who's in the know behind the scenes will know that Kurtzman wasn't involved, and that this is how to do it because people are tuning in. So I think I'm very torn. It's a bit like the Flash movie for me. I'm a bit torn on this, but I think ultimately, when Hollywood, when Paramount and all these people, they do something right, or are moving in the right direction at least, then I think it's incumbent upon the fans to show approval, to let them know that this is what they want, or it's getting there.
Exactly.
That they are listening. The fact that they're even doing that is a sign that they might actually be finally listening. So I get that. I get that.
You see, you're spot on though. You're spot on. We need to be, when they do good, right? No matter how shit they've been before, right? And what opinions we have, when they do good though, it should be praised. You're right, because then that highlights, then they say, oh man, this is actually getting a good reaction. We must be doing something right here. Let's continue down this path. And that's what they've done with Strange New Worlds, Star Trek Prodigy. And I know it's only one episode into Picard, but it does seem like the same. This is the way I look at it. You've got to look at Picard season 3 as a direct continuation from Star Trek Nemesis. Right now, I know that's a brutal movie, but if you go from that point off, it kind of has that feel, dark and seriously, the first episode, I was not expecting it. I was expecting it just to be full of member berries and not to actually have much substance to it, but it did, and the cameos, the people that have joined so far the show, because it's only one episode, of course. It was brilliant. Seriously, man, it brought me back to TNG. Right? So people, Dave Cullen and other people are saying, ignore Picard 1 and 2, season 1 and 2. If you watch season 3 and take it as a separate entity, try think of it as a direct continuation of Nemesis, and you'll enjoy it. It's completely different to the other two. I watched the first season of Picard. It was too political. It was rubbish, to be quite honest with you. I couldn't even watch I think I got 4 episodes into season 2 and I gave up on that. But listen, if they do goodly, it should be praised. And I think you're absolutely spot on, mate. I mean, it has to be given praise, because if you don't praise it and we just keep focusing on the negative, as I said the other day, this culture war has changed. At the start, it was all right for us to keep calling out all the shite, and it was working. But now Hollywood has decided, well, the more we call it out, the more they're going to double down. So if we change tact and we actually praise them when they do something good, like the likes of Maverick, the likes of the Joker movie, the likes of the Orville, Cobra Kai, the list goes on. If we praise all of these things, right, and when they do good, even though they've probably messed up in the past, then they'll see that they're going down the right path. And you're right, we've got to, as fans, to encourage that. We've got to, man. We can't keep complaining about everything. Here's Chris anyway.
Of that, yeah. Hello.
Here he is.
How's it going?
It's grand.
Marvelous.
You missed me rant anyway, so it's perfect timing because you don't have to.
Yeah, I didn't.
Well, as I said, that wasn't. I want to make it clear that's my personal opinion on Doomcock, right? Chris and Lee obviously would have their own. I'm not getting involved. This is all me. This is my opinion, right? But I think he has some brass neck thinking that he can tell the fandom what they can and can't watch.
Wind it in. Chris is here to speak.
Anyway, Chris, how are you, buddy boy?
I am miserable, but thank you. I'm here.
Yay.
You just summarize your thoughts quickly, Noel.
No, it's grand. I already went on a rant, but I will ask you about the Flash.
Are you in favor
of what?
I don't know. Well, I won't mention YouTubers by name because that was always my policy.
Well, look.
But in terms of what one YouTuber has said, I'm assuming you're not in favor of it.
No, of course I'm not.
Okay.
Nobody should dictate to anybody. Listen, as I said, people were calling me a hypocrite because I did do the same during Doctor Who, right? But I did stop. And I have admitted that I shouldn't have been dictating to people. That's not our job as a YouTuber, to dictate to people what they should and shouldn't watch. Our job as a YouTuber is to inform them and give them our opinion. And then it's up to them, based off that opinion, if they want to base whether they watch something off our opinion or not, then to go and watch it. I would rather people just go and watch anyway and make up your own mind and then go and listen to these YouTubers and then see what opinions you agree with and disagree with. But I think when you're going down the realm of dictating the fans and calling them pathetic and basically calling them stupid because they decided to give a show a chance because they see that there actually might be something to this. As you said, Dave Cullen was saying complimentary things about Picard. I watched the first episode. I wasn't expecting what I got, to be quite honest with you. It brought
was
me
terrible.
What?
It was terrible.
You thought it was terrible?
No, I'm being sarcastic.
All right.
It's been a crap day. I'm in a
sarcastic
mood. No, I thought it was very good.
But as I said, in Doctor Who, right, see, here's the thing. The reason why we kept criticizing over the last 5 years is because the quality never changed. It was always shit. Whereas with the Star Trek universe, there does seem to be a shift. We got Strange New Worlds. As I said, Prodigy, Star Trek Prodigy, the Janeway show, I think is actually great. And now we've got the first episode of the third season of Picard, and that was absolutely fantastic. It really was more than just member berries, like some people are trying to say it is. And this is why I have a very strong opinion. But when I saw that YouTuber, I mentioned his name already, I won't mention it again. But when I saw people dictating, you don't dictate to your audience. You've let your fame or whatever you think you have got to get to your head. Just if you don't want to watch it and you hate Kurtzman so much, that's fine, fair enough. But don't have a go at other people for giving it a go, because they do see that there may be a change going on behind the scenes. Because if you look at Strange New Worlds, Prodigy, and now this first episode, there does seem to be a tonal shift from the other shows that they've done. And it does seem that the people that are in charge actually know what they're writing. And that should be encouraged. And, you know, I think it should be praised. And I love the first episode. I love that first episode. I don't know how many episodes you got to watch, Chris, but that first episode was brilliant. I mean, even the start of it, the way it starts off.
I'm just watching them as they come through.
Yeah, I'm going to be the same. But what did you think of the first episode? Tell people what your opinions are on it.
Hello, everyone. So yeah, my name's Chris. I'm very late. I apologize. I'm half awake right now. It's been a day. Okay, so what I was saying on our last stream was kind of proven correct. This actually is a big improvement. So here's I'll give my pieces to what certain YouTubers are saying, and why it's wrong, and why some people say, well, didn't you do this? Well, no, I'm going to I'll give my example first, just to clarify within context of things. Yes, I used to go very hardcore against a certain British show whose name is banned, although y'all know what it is. And then for the longest time, I wanted to, my hope was that we could save this show. Then for a brief period, after I had given up, I was more or less just exposing what they had done to this show. But if I was just doing this to, make money off it and just be a naysayer for the sake of being a naysayer, I would still be covering that show now, wouldn't I? No, I've stopped covering it because, there's 2 points here. The first one is this is my personal view. I think more so because of my experiences with what became the fan base of this certain show rather than what is currently going on with the show itself. I have no more interest in that show whatsoever after 1989 or 1996. I keep saying 99, 96. We'll include number 8 in there because he's cool. But I have, I've been permanently turned off to this show, which shall remain nameless, because of I just can't bring myself to like it anymore. But you don't see me there now, having give up, and basically I've been blackpilled on it. I've been blackpilled on a lot of stuff. The MCU and a few other things I've been blackpilled on as well. But yeah, so I don't talk about it. But you also notice when a certain new character was cast and when a certain producer came back, a lot of people were very excited about this. And I didn't say you are all sheep, you are all dullards, you are all idiots. I said, no, I can understand why you're happy. I fully support your happiness in this. I personally am not excited about this because I have my own view, which I'm not going to slough off on other people. But I have my own way of seeing things.
Yeah.
And so I'm very happy for all of you. I hope it works out well. I will watch it because I did kind of make that pledge. I won't be watching it as a fan, just more out of curiosity. I don't think I will like it again, but I will say if I think it's good. Now, let's flip this over to, and it was always my policy on doing YouTube. I never mentioned YouTubers by names, even if they're my enemies. And this one wasn't really my enemy, but
No.
I'm questioning greatly what this individual is saying. So I guess there's two main points. So point number one, what is the end game? Like, what is this is what we were accused of for years, just complaining for the sake of complaining. And
Exactly.
yes, I did scream my way through videos. And I don't really do that anymore. I'm retired from all that nonsense.
Yeah, but Chris, hold on. You say you were screaming during your videos, but you did that. That was just your style of doing it.
Yeah.
You
Well,
weren't
no, but
shouting, but you
I'm
weren't shouting for because you are angry all the time. You just did that because you knew then it was pissing off a certain side of the fandom, so you just carried it on, as you've openly admitted. Like it was a joke, like it was a joke at them, and they didn't get it. But you
Well, there's,
weren't just. I mean, you weren't just ranting for the sake of fucking ranting. Just want to make that clear. Like,
oh yeah. Well, no, it was a deliberate style change. It was more or less when I was being civil, people can't try and cancel me and call me names. So like, hell with it. I'm just gonna yell.
yeah.
But what's the end game here? Because a lot of us, and it's not so much of the approach, but a lot of us across the board, we were accused of, okay, you guys are going to always be negative about everything. You're never going to see anything positive. You're just a bunch of scam artists. We've been called scam artists. You're just creating controversy for the sake of creating controversy. You're never going to be happy with anything. They could actually turn something around and you would still complain. And now this is, and I have nothing personally against this YouTuber, but I really do question their actions because why are you covering this? Like you're black-pilled like I am on that other show. I don't think anything they could do at this point would ever turn you around. So perhaps you shouldn't be covering it, or, maybe people should look at what they constantly accused us of.
Yeah,
Because there are,
well,
and
we know why.
I'm not gonna name names, but there are some people out there that may have a vested interest in everything constantly being crap, and this is something that even when I was doing it, like I only very, very, very briefly did YouTube for a full time, and I'd never do it again. But even as I was doing that, I'm like, okay, so basically my entire shtick, or my videos that get views, they're about complaining about things.
Yeah.
Well, what do I do if something turns around? Well, you've seen what I did in the case of the one show that seems to have turned around, but I just can't be part of it. I stopped covering it. But Picard is an example, and there's been a couple. I think Ghostbusters was another one.
Afterlife,
The third act of that film is an absolute disaster, but not for the reasons that we were angry with it, and that's something that we can have spirited debate on. But this is for years, and it used to be called the Fandom Menace. I don't know what it's called now, but I know it's not called that.
No.
The whole idea was, okay, to save these franchises, to turn them around. So with Star Trek, I'm not going to say it's perfect. I'm going to say there's a lot to answer for the first 2 seasons of this show, and the entirety of Discovery, which is just an absolute abomination, and why that show is still going on is beyond me. But with Picard, and I didn't expect this. At one point I wasn't going to watch it until YouTubers who are not me, that I actually respect, came out and said, no, this is good. So Star Trek Picard, what the former Fandom Menace, whatever it is called now, was seeking for is we wanted to save these shows. Well, let's look at this as a case study, and it's very interesting to see how certain people have reacted to it. If you are saying that this is terrible, that this is just as bad as what came before, and that this isn't Star Trek, then you are simply being disingenuous and it is suspect. And I do wonder if, and it's not just one, there's a couple, but if you are now just complaining, possibly for the sake of complaining, to profit off the complaining, because this is not subjective. This is objectively.
Yeah.
The show has improved. The show does still have problems, and a lot of them have addressed that. Visually, the show is very dark. It's still not very pleasant looking. I wish they would have fixed that. But in terms of acting, in terms of story,
It was great.
it is completely different. Jonathan Frakes, I think, as Riker alone, I think.
Oh,
saved this
man.
because he's channeled that. Picard, and I think he's still disengaged a little bit, to use a pun, but he is there. But I think it's just his age.
I think it is his age, because while I was watching, the first thing I said to
that's why I
Cheryl, I
think-
said, he's aged quite a bit.
I think what they're gonna do with this, Noel, is I think Jonathan Frakes is essentially going to be the leading character, because my God, and Frakes himself had said when he
He's
first
brilliant.
came back a couple of years ago that because he's just done directing and behind the scenes stuff since I don't think he's had a major act. He's had I think a couple bit roles, but he's like, I haven't acted in forever. I have no way how to play this character, and he could kind of tell that in season 1, but also it was terribly written and terribly directed. I'm like, it's like, other than the fact that he looks older, that's kind of the Santa Claus look thing going. But no, he became Riker. It's like, holy crap.
He's Riker,
Just
man.
fell back into the character.
Yeah.
In terms of the wokeness, that is not present at all. And from what I've heard from people that have seen the whole thing, it's not a problem throughout the entire series. The writing is much better. So what were the main things that we were fighting against? So one was the wokeness, which was the biggest problem, which was destroying everything. Appropriating characters for means, which, yes, it was in the first 2 seasons of Picard, but it's like those first 2 seasons have pretty much been deleted. And we're back towards, I would say, where Insurrection took off, because none of them were playing their characters in Nemesis. That whole thing just felt off. So although I think a lot of people say this picks up from the original series, and the TNG, the televised series, and I think it does. So you got those 2 arguments. So wokeness is no longer a factor.
Yeah.
I did not see it. And believe me, I would be telling you if I did see it. The story is a lot better. Specifically with this series, the problem was Kurtzman and Friends. Kurtzman and Friends are only involved in the show in name only, and that's because of the contract. And this individual knows that this contract is there, and this individual was advocating this a few years ago, where, okay, just put his name on there, but have somebody else running the show. That's exactly what's happened. Terry Matalas is in charge. He is basically now the Rick Berman of the show. Kurtzman Friends, due to contract, are still credited as executive producers. They have nothing to do with this other than that.
You can tell.
So the 3 things that you wanted, so wokeness is gone, writing is better, Kurtzman and Friends, for all intents and purposes, are gone. And yet you're counteracting your entire original argument, because the problems that you wanted addressed are addressed. Now, there is the issue of, can you forgive the last 5 years, being the all of STD in the first 2
See,
seasons.
that part I can get, Chris, though.
No, I can get, because that's
Yeah.
where I am with that British show. But the problem is, what you need to do then, so you are very black-pilled on Star Trek, you need to do what I did with that British show. For one, is, okay, so nothing is going to make you happy. You're just complaining for the sake of complaining now, and that's exactly what you're doing, because you will never be satisfied with anything that's done in this if you can't see anything. So you need to do what I did. You need to step away. This is why you shouldn't make YouTube a career. This is why you shouldn't rely on YouTube for your primary source of income unless you can diversify. And I said this years ago, and this is why I decided, and Noel knows this because I told him this, like over 4 years ago now, when I stopped doing this full time. What we do is we're criticizing really one very thin thing, but it's something that destroyed the entertainment industry. And what happens when things start to turn around? If you rely on this as an income, if you do what I had done, and what this YouTuber's done is you've dug yourself into a corner. You've dug yourself into a hole because your entire identity is based around things that aren't so. And I will say, creatively, with what I've seen with the one episode, and I'm confident based on what I've heard, this carries through with Star Trek Picard. And yes, I think if we use Strange New Worlds as an example, 2 out of 3, the Star Trek franchise, I think, has been saved. There's still a lot of things to be angry about, and yes, STD is still around, and I think that's an abomination.
We all agree with him there on that. That is, and he has every reason to be angry.
There's one other thing, Noel. This is the main point I'm getting at.
Go ahead.
Okay, so for the first point, so the things that this person was railing against, if you're being genuine, if you're being objective, even slightly objective, you can see that it's been fixed. For the most part, there's still issues, but the problems, the 3 pillars, once again, wokeness, writing, and Kurtzman are gone. So what you need to do is walk away. What you don't do, and what I never did, and people can clip this if they want, because right now I'm channeling my former self. What you don't do is call people that are genuinely excited for a show that has shown improvement, that has done what we wanted to do. You don't go and call those people sheep. What the fuck is wrong with you? And a lot of these people are people that supported you for years. No, people are not sheep. You, sir, are being a jackass. So no, and that is inexcusable. Completely inexcusable.
I mean, you think about it. When you get Hollywood types calling their fans bigots and
that's what
this, that, and the other, and all the names, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
You are attacking your fans. Your viewers are your fans. I have unsubscribed from this person, although, and this is a person who, again, I won't, but has a terrible track record with rumors. But also the one thing that, okay, so you're talking everybody that likes this is sheep. And this person also has personal vendettas against some YouTubers. But there are some people with integrity that have said this is either really good or have noticed this is an improvement. Literally everybody else that covered this. You have myself. You have Gary. You have Critical Drinker. You have Mahler. You have Robert Meyer Burnett. You have Dave Cullen. You have has said that this is an improvement, but he still has some issues, but he says this is a step in the right direction.
He's acknowledged
all these people sheep. When Red Letter Media comes out, which is by far the largest out of all the criticism channels, if Red Letter Media comes out, which I think is also, I think one of the most respected and distinguished media entities out there, and one that never really would criticize stuff but never really got into it. So Mike and Rich had said after season 2 of Picard that they were never going to cover the show again. Although at this point, I think they probably will. So if Red Letter Media comes out and says that this is good or an improvement, are you going to call them sheep? Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, just leave it out,
he's
man.
Trying to placate. He's like, oh yeah, no, it's better than a toilet bowl. I don't even know what. It's just like, I'm like, dude, just fuck off.
Colonoscopy. He said he'd rather have a colonoscopy.
Yeah, that's what it was. I'm like,
and I mean, then in another tweet, he actually says that season 3 is better than season 1 and 2. So he even contradicts his own argument when he says that season 3 is an improvement.
It's like, how many? And I tried when there was that explosion. I guess it was a couple of years ago now, but I tried to do what I could to try and patch it up. But let's do what you were called up for originally. How many times has Kathleen Kennedy quit, Mr. Nameless YouTuber? How many times are these shows being canceled? How many
Yeah.
times has Kurtzman been fired?
Exactly.
I'm like,
Exactly,
Jesus
man.
Christ! How many times was Chibs fired? I covered one story, and it's because I followed your advice, Mr. YouTuber. I
Yeah,
won't
yeah,
mention, and then I never did it again.
yeah.
How many times have you been right? Oh no, you were right about Picard because that's what happened eventually. No,
Well,
I'm
so
mad
was
because
Notre
this is what
Dame.
you're
No, so
accused
was
of
Notre
being.
Dame, is right, because when you repeat something so often and you slightly change it, eventually you're going to be right.
Yeah, and like I said, right now, personally, dude, our interactions have been good, but I gotta shake my head at what you're doing here. I'm like, dude, just get some perspective. And I guess if you want to call sheep, I'm like, there are people that are afraid to accuse them. So you look at this, and I look at the comments. I'm like, and most of these people didn't even watch the show.
I
So my
know.
final word
That's
on
the
this
thing that
is,
annoys me, though. The comments that he attracts are people that haven't even watched. They just take it off his opinion.
Yep.
Again, folks, though, I will say, no matter what opinion me, Chris, Lee, or any other YouTuber has about a TV show or a movie, please just do one thing for me. Go and watch it
what
yourself
I
and
said
judge for
last week.
yourself.
And,
Right?
and
That's
if
the
it would have
best
been shit,
way.
I would have called it out. But no, do not take anything we say as gospel. If you like it, I'm not going to call you sheep. Um, if you don't like it,
I'm not going to
I'm
call
not
you a
going to call
bigot.
you sheep. But if you're somebody that has gotten the things that you've wanted for years, literally, you can snip his videos, and then you call people sheep. In that case, yes, I am going to call you out because you are doing what the rest of us were accused of doing for years. And it's like what Gary said. And actually, I should have screen capped this, but I commented on it. What he said was Captain Picard is good. In a later comment, when people are calling him out, he's like, I would rather shut down my channel than lie.
Exactly. He said that. And I
Yep.
would, you know what? I love Gary for that. He literally came out and said, I would rather shut down the whole lot rather than come on. And that's the thing, integrity. Where's the fucking integrity? And if you're not going to be honest with your audience, even if you don't like the person that's creating the stuff, if you cannot be honest with your audience and tell them as it is, well, then you've already lost. You've already lost any credibility. Well, he never had any credibility, and you're right about the rub, because that was my rant as well.
No,
Not once.
I don't think we want to say that he never had any credibility. I'd say that at some point the plot was lost, and at some point the rumors became almost like a parody of themselves.
Yeah.
But no, this person has said some good things, but right now it's like, dude, you've lost the plot. You need to think about what you're doing, because all of us, including those of us that don't do this anymore, are going to get painted with the same brush saying we're never happy about anything. Well, no, it's just one very loud voice that is making no sense and contradicting themselves.
Yeah. And that's why it needs to be called out. And that's why I called it out tonight, because it does need to be called out. And this is the thing, fair play to Chris. He didn't have to, but he's given his opinion on it. But I hope other bigger YouTubers out there are listening, because you need to be doing the same as well. This cannot be this cannot be left unchecked. This has to be called out, because Chris is right. We will all be tired with the saber that we won't, that they bring out, we won't. And that's not true. As Chris has actually said, he knows I'm excited for the show that he doesn't want to talk about, mention, right? He knows that I'm excited for that. And I'm really, really excited. Not once has he ever discouraged me.
Nope.
Or called me a sheep, or called me pathetic, or called me any name. He was delighted for me. He actually said, I wish I could feel the same. But he has different feelings on it. But that's the thing. He didn't go and tell me that I should or shouldn't watch. He says, good on you. And that's the way it should be. YouTubers' job is not to dictate to the audience. It's to inform them and give their opinion. But as I always say, it's best to watch these things for yourself, because, yes, the mainstream media, see, this is what happened. The mainstream media critics let us down. So we did all, and we'll all admit it, we all did depend on these YouTubers to give us their opinion, because we thought they were going to be honest about it. But unfortunately, there does seem to be a few out there that have an agenda. Chris has pointed out three things: the wokeness is gone, the writing has improved, and Kurtzman hasn't got his greasy hands on this, and it's much better. Strange New Worlds was the same. Even Star Trek Prodigy has nothing of Kurtzman to do with it, and it's great Trek. When Kurtzman has nothing to do with it, it seems to do better. It seems to be that the people that are actually working on these shows know what they're doing and they've actually watched. You can tell that they've actually watched Star Trek. That's the difference that I see. When you see a Kurtzman written Trek, you know he hasn't watched the fucking show. No matter what he says, he hasn't watched. Like Chibs, right? Chibs says he was a fan. He's never a fan. You seen him? He was the Force Karen, the Force SJW. He was ranting and raving like a lunatic at Jane and Pip and Jane Baker, right?
I feel so
Remember
bad for
that.
them.
Right, so I mean, look, a bit of integrity. If you can't be honest with your audience, right? Well, then, as Chris suggests, maybe it's time to take yourself out of that position because you have dug yourself into a bit of a hole. See, the thing is, as I said earlier on, Chris won't say it, but I will. Your channel is built off all of that. It's built off all of that negativity. In fairness, we can probably say that most of our channels were, including mine, right? But even I have said enough is enough with the moan, and I don't talk about Jodie Whittaker anymore, Chris Chibnall. You know that. We hardly talk about her on the channel unless someone brings it up in the chat. We might get the odd comment. But we've all tried.
It still could be funny.
Yeah, we have a joke about it the odd time, or we might mention it in reference to comparing it to something. But other than that, that's all we do. We're not constantly every day ranting and raving about it. Lee doesn't do it either. We don't rant and rave about the Whittaker era anymore. It's gone. It's done. It's finished. We're looking to the future. You know what I mean? And yes, we don't know what's around the corner, but we've got a little bit of hope, a little bit of optimism, and I'll hold on to that. And, we'll see if it's good or bad. If it's bad, I'll walk away rather than complain about it. Because I said it, if RTD's era ends up being as bad as the Chib era, I'm just walking away. I'd rather walk away than do what other YouTubers out there do. I did it for 5 years under Whittaker. I'm not doing it again. I'm done.
I did it. It can be done. If I was still going after this British show, now, where it's like personally, I still love everything 1996 and before. I hate everything now that came after. If I was still doing it, I would be disingenuous because I am black pilled. For me personally, I don't see it getting any better. I'm just talking into a void. I can understand why a lot of people are, as I said, excited about RTD2. I'm not, but if I were still making videos, and I wouldn't be calling people sheep, but if I were still making videos yelling at every other article, it would be, then you could accuse me of being a scam artist because at that point, that's obviously what I'm doing. I have no interest in improving this. I have no interest in doing anything with this other than yelling at it to make money. And I'm like,
yeah.
This is why I've told people for years, do not rely on YouTube as your primary source of income because when things turn around and things come in cycles, it's not going to turn around completely for a while. But you're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee,
you did it to yourself. Like, no sympathy.
No, in fairness, someone said it in the chat earlier on. He was warned that this could happen. I mean, I have seen leading up to this season premiere that a lot of people that were in the Trek fandom that run YouTube channels were trying to get him on their channels to review it. And even these comments back to those people were I was just like, come on now. At this stage, just give it up. It's if you don't like it, fine, but just don't have a go at it.
It's the calling people sheep things.
Yeah,
I'm going to use. I was going to say Lee's gone again. But if you're going to, I'm going to. Okay, this is where because I've been yelling for like 25 minutes now. My voice was already.
It's
hoarse.
Grand. Lee hasn't had a chance.
One thing I want to say is, without respect, we reject.
That's it.
Calling, I would say, 80% of your viewers sheep. Without respect, we reject. You just did the opposite of what you've been preaching for years. Without
Yeah.
respect, we reject. That was one of the most, and I've been doing this for a long time. Like I've been doing YouTube since, well, I had been doing it since 2017. There was once a YouTuber, and I won't mention this name, but that did something very similar. This person in 2007 was one of the largest on the platform. Covered technology. Actually, the whole reason why my old channel existed is because I originally created it to enter a contest that this person was offering. So we're talking in 2007, massive audience, like regularly six-figure viewers or six figures on videos, which back then was unheard of. Some in the millions, which back then was really unheard of because YouTube was a small niche platform. So this was around 2007. Then it was around 2012, around there, that this person started attacking their viewers. And this was before Patreon, although it eventually became Patreon. This person set it up where you could join their little group and give this person money. This person for a couple months on every stream was screaming at his viewers because they weren't giving him money. Like just at the same time, this YouTuber, who I will not mention by name, decided that they were funny and Weird Al Yankovic and tried to act like Weird Al Yankovic in every video. It is some of the cringiest stuff I've ever seen. So let's just say over the years, and then this person stopped making for about 2 years. This person said, okay, if you're not donating to me, you don't get my tech videos. So he put those under a paywall. And for a while after that, he made us watch these very pretentious family videos. This is how things worked out for that YouTuber. So this is another example of somebody who directly disrespected their fans, screamed at their fans because they weren't giving him money. So again, 2007, one of the biggest channels on YouTube. If you looked up this person's first name, it was the first hit on Google. This person is still around. This is also one of the only YouTube channels I've ever unsubscribed from because even it was just infuriating watching this person. So this person is still around now. This person used to do in the early days of live streams with thousands, sometimes tens of thousands watching. This YouTuber, if they're lucky, has videos with not even 100 views now. He still does live streams with literally 3 people watching.
Wow.
It can happen.
Wow.
I'm just throwing that out there as an example. As somebody who I watched completely catapult their career by attacking their audience.
Does it though?
Good luck.
Can I ask you, because you've been on YouTube a long time, people like that, is it a case that they kind of let because their audience is so big, I wouldn't say fame is the right word, let it get to their head, but
No, it did.
do you think the audience, the numbers and their views get to their heads and then they start getting arrogant?
I've been in several communities. My first community was the tech community. Nobody from that is really around anymore. It's there are physical media channels on YouTube now, some that do very well, but we're talking over a decade ago. The physical media community around there, and there are some that got a big head and they catapulted their own careers there too. But I am probably the only one left standing, and I don't even make videos anymore of that community. But I've seen it happen with massive YouTubers. The worst thing you could do is attack your audience or be completely disingenuous. Just the other example I'll give quickly is one that's a lot more recent. I won't mention this YouTuber's made, but this is also when people think you're not being genuine. There was a certain YouTuber who may have been a bit mundane. Anybody know where I'm going yet? He was mundane. I don't know, Matthew the Great or something. I have no idea. And this person was once also very big. We're talking briefly, like millions of views on videos during this whole Gamergate thing. This person didn't change. This person thought that the Gamergate thing was still going on a decade after it had ended. This person was completely disingenuous, basically devolved into just reading articles. You could tell this person was only doing it for money and had no investment, and this individual did not want to get a job. And this individual was called out on a live stream where he was apparently back from picking up boulders. Anybody know who I'm going at? I won't mention the name, but I'm sure. Noel, do you know where I'm going with this?
No, I haven't got a clue, but Chris Persia does.
Okay,
Chris
yeah,
Persia does.
Yeah, so Chris Persia. So this person and the live stream is available. Actually, Jeremy from the Quartering was on this. This was, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. Jeremy from the Quartering was on here before he'd actually made it big, but he was on that stream. So this person, on top of being disingenuous, had been flagging people that were saying mean things about him on the YouTube. And you'll notice I never did that because all the videos that said bad things about me, a lot of them are still up. So no, I never did that because the worst of them still exist. Christ, you look up my name and one of them is the first thumbnail. Thanks for that, YouTube. With the
You have to tell me who it is in the private chat because
okay, yeah,
I feel like I'm missing out here.
Yeah, I'm just going to just quickly here
because this was before my time, I think. So you have to fill me in
here.
Oh, hold on.
Okay, there you go. Okay, it's in the private
I think
chat.
I know who it is.
Yeah. So anyway, so there was a stream. So this person had been flagging people.
Yeah.
Everything that had channels that had been, mean to him, and some of them not even that mean, just slightly critical. So in this live stream, this is another. This is somebody ending their career in an instant. Literally, you could watch it in real time. He's on a stream with, and most of the YouTubers that were on that stream were dicks, and I couldn't, other than Jeremy, aka the Quartering. The rest of them I can't. They were just unwatchable, toxic dicks. But that's not the point here. The point is that this person was a weasel. So these people, being what they are, called him out. It's like, oh no, I've never false flagged anything. I'm like, oh, really? Well, you are aware that you can show your flagging history on YouTube, right? You're like, oh no, I didn't know that. And even I know that. You can look at my history. Mine says I've never flagged. No, I flagged one video for stealing content like 14 years ago, which literally stole content. That's the only thing that's ever been on there. And that was legit. They re-uploaded my entire video, then claimed copyright on my video. Pick that up. But,
wow.
Just try and figure that out. But so like, okay, Mr. Mundanity. Here. Show us your flagging. She's like, oh, just let me get. I'm having trouble. I'm like, here's the link. It brings you right to it, and you can tell he's trying to delete this stuff. Well, you can't delete this stuff. It's a record of what you've done in the past, you jackass. So anyway, and then it comes. Then he's like, okay,
this is brilliant.
He's flagged absolutely everyone. At the same time, this Mr. Mundanity was having a little beef with Geeks and Gamers, mainly because he was jealous of them. Because they were getting views and he was just reading things, and that's it. So needless to say, so and then he tried going on for a couple days as if nothing happened, and the comments and the just ratio on those videos were absolutely hilarious. So he's still going on. Now he's just, in terms of being not genuine, he's now a contrarian. He now argues against everything he used to argue for because he's still angry at Geeks and Gamers. So he gets a few hundred views per video, and his live streams are, he calls it Boulder TV or whatever, thinking he's owning it, but we're just laughing. And he might get like 6 people watching now. Like, just Mr. Other YouTuber, whose name I won't mention. Those are 2 examples I've seen of channels that for their time were very big that completely died. Okay, I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, do you know what?
Wait, did
Tonight,
Daniel just say his content?
tonight
What
I
did-
actually feel sorry for Lee because he hasn't actually spoke tonight, and
oh
because
shit,
I
dude, I am
because
so
I had
sorry.
my rant, right? I had my rant, and then he got to say a little bit. Then you come in,
Dude,
you've had your rant.
okay, I'm
So-
just I'm gonna do this. Lee, dude, brother, I am sorry. Holy shit, I've been ranting for an hour. Okay, I'm gonna do this.
Anyway, Lee is probably grateful for the rest. Anyway, are you there, Lee? Are you at your computer? At your computer?
Yeah, I'm back. Hello.
Yay, this was quite an enjoyable stream. Well, we're not finished yet, folks, because I do want to get Chris's opinion on the Flash trailer as well, but we'll wait for that in a minute.
No,
Because I want to see if Lee...
I hadn't realized how long I've been monopolizing things, and now I feel like
But
one
trust
of these
me.
YouTubers that should be canceled.
That's what I said. I already ranted, so Lee has
Trust
hardly got
me.
a chance to talk tonight.
No, mate, your little segment quite, contained and small.
Yeah,
Oh,
mine
okay,
was...
well, I missed that,
It was
but,
demure in
yeah,
comparison.
mine was my style of rant. But Lee, obviously we could change subject now if you want, or if you want to add on to
actually,
Chris...
what I'd be interested in, Lee has heard the two of us talk.
Mm.
Lee, based on what we've said, what is your opinion?
Well, my opinion is, I'm a little bit torn about this, but I'm not as zealotry the way or the other. I think it's good, and I've said this before about other franchises. When they try to do something better, I think it was with Strange New Worlds, when they tried to do something. Not fan service necessarily, but they're showing that the cogs are turning, and that people are thinking about it and listening. That you have to send a signal somehow to them that you approve. And if you're just going to shit on everything for the sake of shitting on everything because everything's been shit, you're not really sending any signal other than don't bother trying. And I think. I mean, for me personally, Picard is 3 seasons in. I'm not going to start watching it now, quite honestly. I'm out because it's not Picard. Picard's dead. They might be able to resurrect, the show from the ashes by lumping in some decent writing, some decent stories, no doubt. I mean, it seems to me that they have corrected ship to some degree. It still looks too dark to me. So that I do agree. It does look too dark. It is Kurtzman Trek dark. Star Trek has to be optimistic. It has to be fun. I haven't watched it, so I can't really comment on it. Am I going to watch it? Probably not, quite honestly. Not because I think it's just going to be shit. It's just because I think it's too little too late for me.
But you wouldn't bash anybody for watching it.
I certainly wouldn't, but absolutely not. No, as I've said with the Flash thing, it's down to people's, personal choice. I'm always pro personal choice, as long as you're not killing anyone. And I think that ultimately, it's a very personal decision. I certainly don't think people are sheep for wanting something good. I think people are desperate for something.
There's PD.
If they've delivered it.
PD, who does be on air panels, is a very big Trek fan. This is what he says about Picard. Just watch season 3 and place it in Star Trek 2009 alternate reality universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I think Gary said that, didn't he? Like, if you see it more like JJ Trek. So
it's good. The first episode is good, but I don't think you need to watch season 1 and 2 of Picard to watch season 3. To be quite honest with you, Lee,
this almost sidesteps it, and I haven't seen the episode, but apparently they do some retconning of Picard being a robot too. I've said I don't want to know how this happens because
I don't care if they rectify it and fix it. and they find a way of
it
doing
is
it.
kind of like a timeless child thing. So they can at least acknowledge it and just explain it away, kind of like a certain character that I used to love being half human. Well, actually, no, I still love that version of the character. That's where the show died or ended. But yeah, well, I think Lee, it's what I'd recommend is just, and it's up to you, but it's kind of like me. Like
Yeah, it's
I'll
just a
suffer through the
recommendation.
next episode of that British show. But just watch this episode in isolation. It is dark, but not. It doesn't have the nastiness behind it that the first two seasons had. And I think there is some humor in this. There's actually one scene that I really liked, where I won't spoil it for people but Picard and Riker are in a shuttle, and all this wackiness is going on, and they're getting into a bad situation. And this is, I haven't laughed at Star Trek in years. It's just the way Picard looks to him. Like he goes to Riker, "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" I'm like, it's just like the moments of levity are back. And it's because that's the thing about the first two seasons. It's completely humorless. I'm like, the humor almost all comes from Jonathan Frakes, but there are multiple times that I laughed out loud in this episode, which that's Star Trek, and that I haven't done in Star Trek since 2005.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is. It's pretty good. I'm not messing. I wasn't expecting this episode to be as good because people can hype things up, but I think Dave Cullen, spot on with his analysis of it. And he says that we're in for a hell of a ride, and it does fix a lot of things. If that's what it does, and Picard goes out on a high, and they rectify some of the mistakes that they did, I think that should be acknowledged. And I don't think fans and people that enjoy this should be called cheap and pathetic because they have decided, as you said, Lee, to give something a go when they see that they're making an effort and it's going in the right direction. We have to acknowledge that.
And one thing that I like too,
if you don't acknowledge, sorry, Chris, if you don't acknowledge it, how do they know? You've got to it's a bit of give and take, right? You've got to be able to have an open dialogue with the people. Yeah, they've called us names. They've burnt us many times. They treated us like imbeciles and like shit. They've called us bigots. They called us this, that, the other, and they've used it openly used it as a platform for their political ideologies rather than telling stories. This has been the thing. But the thing is, if Kurtzman has been sort of shoved to the back and they're bringing this forward, we need to show that team is the way forward, or at least the right step in the right direction.
Exactly.
So we need to be able to have that dialogue, and that dialogue is by showing approval, by going, yes, actually, that's what you want to be moving towards. If you're just going to constantly gripe and shit on everything, whether or not it's based on actual problems that you can actually pinpoint and go, well, that's not right. That's fine. You can tear things like that apart. That's what fandoms always do with things. But if you're just going to shit on the whole thing as a whole, based on one episode or not even seeing the whole that episode, you're in dodgy territory. I think you really need to be able to at least look at it as objectively as possible. That's difficult for fans because obviously we're very invested. But if you've tapped out from Star Trek to the point that you're apathetic, it's difficult to get re-engaged. That's kind of where I've become with a lot of these franchises. I'm very disengaged because I feel I don't feel that I've been listened to. If like, for example, if RTD did this with Doctor Who, where you can see he's actually trying to correct ship and pull me back in, I'm willing to go back because that's what I want. You have to have that want. You have to have that desire to want to go back to it.
Exactly.
If you don't want it, then it's clear that certain people are quite clear that they just want this to die.
Yeah.
Because they want Star Trek to be as it was.
And remember it the way it was.
Yeah, but it's not going to be. At least not. It's not going to. This team is not going to relinquish control over it. Not for any time soon. So whilst they have it, you have to be able to meet them somewhere in the middle, but keep pushing, keep criticizing the things that are valid criticisms.
Exactly.
But don't just shit on the whole thing just for the sake of it. You have to go, yes, but if you could just, like, keep on them, keep at them, keep pointing these things out. But for that dialogue to happen, you have to be able to say, yes, when they're doing something right, good.
Yep, exactly.
When they're doing something wrong, you need to say, actually, just, if you just, did that a bit better, or if you just, whatever. I mean, that dialogue needs to happen. Obviously, not everything is going to be the way you want it to be, but ultimately, if they're actually showing you that there is a bit of love going into this, new people have been brought in, or people who know what they're talking about, what they're doing, are being brought in, then it shows. I mean, from what I heard from Gary talking about it, what I heard from other people talking about it, is that there does seem to be a genuine love for Star Trek and what they're doing. So if that continues, if they're allowed to continue, with Kurtzman being ostracized further, I mean, if this could go either of two ways. All right, Gary was saying if this is a success, Kurtzman will come back in, take control of it again, say, yeah, it was my success, and then go off and do something terrible like STD again. But I see it as a potential that people will, Paramount will go, he's clearly not the man for the job. We'll keep him on the retainer, but we'll let these guys go forward with it in the meantime until his contract runs out. So I think that's more likely, because he's the.
I think he's on his last legs, man.
Well, obviously, I think they're the golden goose. They want to protect that investment because they're the ones reinvigorating Star Trek. Kurtzman is the anti-golden goose. You need to put on an axe on that ASAP. As soon as his contract, I mean, I don't know why he was renewed. Obviously, he's got connections in all the right places, except in his head. So I think that once you've shown that this is a viable franchise again, that it's being treated as an A-list show rather than a D-list show like it has been with STD, where no one wants to bloody watch it. No one wants to even put it on the terrestrial TV.
No.
no one wants to watch it. You can't even get this syndicated. This, I mean, I think it's a bit late for Picard. I mean, it's the final season anyway, so you might as well end on a high. But hopefully those notes that show that the fans appreciate this will move to the next show, whatever that is. That they don't screw it up from the start. Not
That's
3 seasons in.
Picard, Strange New Worlds, and Prodigy, the third season of Picard, obviously. They're going in the right direction. Now, obviously, the jury is still out on Picard season 3, because obviously we've only seen one.
Well, I can tell you a little bit of what went on behind the scenes, which it's just leaked things and stuff like that. But a lot of this, it's pretty obvious. And remember, CBS Paramount, throughout the run of all this and the creation and shooting of Picard and in the middle of STD, the remerger happened, and now I think the main company now is called, I can't remember, it's changed names so many times. Paramount CBS, we'll just call it the company. The company was not happy with what had happened to Star Trek, and the individual Les Moonves, who put these people in charge of the show, he resigned in disgrace a couple of years ago, but they stuck around. The powers that be that own Star Trek will own the franchise, or I should say technically bought it from Desilu Productions in 1968, because it actually wasn't originally a Paramount property, but that's your fact of the day that many of you probably didn't know. But the powers that be were not happy with what was going on. Metalis was brought in season 2 as one of the, I think at that point, 23 producers of the show. And he was given no creative control. He was just there. And apparently he had discussions and was very vocal over what they did in season 2, as this is ridiculous. You're going to send what's left of your fan base running for the hills when they see this current year crap. And the production team at the time, well, basically Kurtzman, Goldsman, and Chabon and friends just ignored him. And Picard season 2, the company knows that it was an unmitigated disaster. It was the biggest out of all of them, because you thought season 1 was bad. No, season 2 is the worst individual season of Star Trek ever made, and I'm including STD in that. Apparently heads rolled over that. And they also had the example of Kurtzman had a lot of, well, actually most of the control removed from him with for Strange New Worlds, which was a similar thing, which is why the show is completely different than what it was originally conceived, and it got closer to being real Star Trek. Metalis, who is a Star Trek fan, who completely disagrees with what they've done to the show and the fans over the past few years, was given carte blanche, full control over season 3, and they said, you can do whatever you want. Somebody needs to save this franchise, because if we have another Picard season 2, Star Trek finally dying could destroy the company, because it's, I think, the only really valuable asset they have left. So this is a true Star Trek fan, one that understands the series. There's little Easter eggs and stuff all over this episode, where, only ultra nerdy Star Trek fans will know what it's referring to, but it's everywhere. So he was said, okay, just save the show. Do whatever you want. You seem to know what you're doing. Save the show. That's why the tonally this is so completely different, because this is somebody beginning again from square one. And one of the criticisms is Patrick Stewart does seem to be a little checked out, but I think that's his age. But I think Jonathan Frakes was brought in deliberately, and Frakes is leading this show. It's still called Picard, but no, Commander Riker is leading this, because we've seen Stewart can't do it anymore.
It should be called, in fairness, it should be called something like The Last Adventure of the
It
Next
should be called Star Trek
Generation
The
or
Next
something.
Generation
Yeah,
Season 8.
That's what it should be called. I agree
Star Trek
with
The
you.
Next Generation Season 8.
Yeah, that's exactly what it should be called, because this series is definitely going to be about the whole crew and what they did.
He worked on that. You're right, Petey Rich. Yeah, he had worked on Real Trek, which I think he's the only, other than the actors, the only Real Trek person that has anything to do with modern Trek. But the main thing is he's a fan. He's like the Okudas, who were like, the ultimate Star Trek people who literally wrote the tech manuals on the show back in the day. Like Kurtzman, even when he co-wrote Star Trek 2009 with Roberto Orci, or I can't pronounce his name, Kurtzman said back then he wasn't a fan of the show. The guy that eventually got drummed out, which was Orci or Orsi or whatever his last name was.
Orsi, I think it is.
He was the Star Trek fan. So Kurtzman, and none of them were really Star Trek fans. A lot of them had never watched it. Metalis, he is a Star Trek fan. He knows the series inside and out. And I think, and I wouldn't say that Picard is too little too late. I think this is another starting off point. And I don't know what they're going to do in the future, but there's no reason they couldn't do a Commander Riker show with some of them, because Jonathan Frakes, even though he's 70, he still pulls off that character.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's how season 3 will probably end. It'll probably hand over the baton kind of thing, and he will take command of his own ship.
They need to do that. I'm like, you have, and you saw Crusher, and I could see Gates McFadden has definitely had some work done, which does not look great. But even with her, you could tell it wasn't really playing it as Crusher, but like Riker, like it's watch it for that alone. If you haven't seen any Star Trek since the original series, watch Frakes just channel Riker. And
it does.
That alone is something to watch.
It is. I like Beverly Crusher in it. I actually thought it was nice, because she did have an episode
it didn't seem to be the same character.
Yeah, she did have an episode in The Next Generation where she was on the ship on her own. Do you remember? I forget the name of the story, but
no. She is a captain. Like like that's believable. No, I think, although we didn't see much with her, but she didn't fall into her character again as easily as Riker did. It'd be interesting to see how Michael Dorn falls into his character, because he's played the same character on Star Trek consistently for longer than anybody else in the entire franchise, because he spanned 2 series.
I can't wait to see what they have in store. And I tell you, if it keeps getting better and better with each episode, bring it on, I say. And if it's a way to end it for the next generation crew and that ends it on a high, I'm all for it. Do you know what? Kind of glad they're all coming back. You know, I know some will say, well, they're only bringing them back because the first two seasons were that bad. Yeah, there might be a lot of truth in that. But at the end of the day, if these characters that we love and know can pull it off and have decent scripts behind them, well, then I don't see how this is going to be. It's going to be good. It can't be bad. I mean, because you know, I mean, Next Generation. That's the Star Trek I did grow up with. Yes, I do prefer the original series. I'm not going to lie, but the fourth series, the Next Generation's a bit stiff, but after that, it gets into its stride. I reckon at the middle of season 2, start to season 3, it really finds its feet.
And
But
the
I
Enterprise
am
D is now
interested.
called the Fat One.
But I want to see what this crew can do. I've always wanted a Janeway show as well. Now I got a cartoon. It's not the same to me, but I still got me Janeway show. I've always thought that Voyager deserved a movie franchise, to be quite honest with you, but a lot of people slate that show, so I can understand why it didn't. But within that show, I had some very good episodes. I'm not going to lie, some great stories within Voyager. Absolutely brilliant ones. Shattered was one. Future's End Part 1 and 2. You had that other two-parter as well, which was supposed to be a season-long arc, Year of Hell, Part 1 and 2. That was very good. I mean, you had some great stories in Voyager. I always wanted to see what happened to the crew after they came back to Earth and how they settled in and stuff like that. And Prodigy kind of gives you a little bit of background into that. So that show, I know it's a cartoon and it's on Nickelodeon, but it's nothing to do with Kurtzman either. And you can tell. That's why I'm saying 3 shows. Chris is saying 2 because he hasn't seen Prodigy, obviously. He can only judge off Strange New Worlds and obviously what he's seen with Picard. But I've seen Prodigy and I can tell you those 3 shows alone show that they're changing course. Now, can they continue it? We'll have to wait and see. But I will praise when something is done right. You know, there's no point of just being negative all the time. But we'll see. It's interesting. It's piqued me interest. I actually enjoyed it. Like Chris, there were a few. That whole scene actually in the shuttle was great. And the dinner, when they had the dinner with the captain, which I won't reveal, but that was some great acting there as well, man.
Well, the captain is such an asshole. I would like it's not like Angry Admiral.
I know.
This guy is such a douchebag that it's awesome. Like,
yeah.
You know, Admiral Misery Guts, you know, the one that's in all the memes. She was just fake. You could tell she was just a stand-in. But no, this captain is just a jackass, and I love it.
I know.
Like, it's like, you know, real confrontation that's also humorous, and then he throws them in the bunk beds. I'm like that's what I like. Like this does it's really dark, but this does have that Star Trek fun all over it.
I know it does. And then the two of them on the bunk beds having a conversation. Brilliant, man, I tell you. It is. It's good. It's not just member berries, man. It's proper acting, proper scripts, man. I hope it just gets better from here on in, because if they get this right, what a way for Patrick Stewart to sign off properly. It will, because I think they have done him a disservice for the 2 seasons that they had him in. And if this is a way of redeeming the whole lot, then I'm all for it, because I've always said Patrick Stewart deserved better than those first 2 seasons.
And one other thing I got to call out, Noel.
Yeah.
Jerry Ryan is actually playing 7 of 9 as 7 of 9 now. It's not whatever the hell that character was for the first 2 seasons. This is 7 of 9, but 20 years older. That's another thing that I noticed. Like,
but she's not allowed to be called. We
won't go into that.
Yeah. Spoilers.
No, she plays 7 differently, and you couldn't buy what we saw the last 2 years was the same character from Voyager. I could buy that this 7 was the 7 from Voyager 2025, whatever, however many years later.
I love 7 of 9. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Jerry Ryan is lovely to look at. But in Voyager, some of the best episodes featured her and the Doctor and Janeway. They were some of the best. Jerry Ryan should get a lot more credit for her acting than she does. She was
and she
brilliant.
has to work with Captain Jackass, which I like that conflict too. But no, that's one thing that I don't know if a lot of people have touched on much because they were distracted by everything else. But no, she's actually she's playing 7 of 9.
She is.
Now that it's properly written. That on its own is another example.
I just it's just little things like that gives me hope, man. Gives me hope. And whatever this story, whatever this we won't say, but how it starts off and how this adventure starts off, it's going to be very interesting how all that other stuff unfolds now. We know a little bit of detail. I'm not going to say anything, by the way. Captain Drunk. I don't think he was drunk. He was just an asshole, but he was just so super cool about it. It's one of those people, he knows he's an asshole, but he does it so well. This captain.
He hates Picard and Riker. Well, that was another
he hates
thing
Riker.
that I actually laughed out loud. He's like, "Yeah, no, I run a smooth ship, so we won't be crashing in any planets or any of this other stuff that you turn." And it is you laugh out loud because you look at it. I'm like, yeah, they've caused like, yes, they did crash a ship into a planet. It was just it's funny just watching the counterpart. And then the look on Riker and Picard's face after he tells them, I won't say what the thing they were asking him to do. He tells them no, and they're just like dumbfounded, like what?
Yeah, because I wasn't even expecting that either. Though when that just happened, I was like, did he just tell Admiral Picard and Captain Riker? No,
He's like, no, I don't care who you are.
And then he just casually gets up off his seat. Oh, I've just had enough of my dinner now. I'm going to take this into my room. I was like, cold.
He's already eating. He didn't even bother waiting for them. And it's
actually, what we did say, if this was good, we might consider reviewing it. We'll wait until it gets a couple of more episodes in to judge it. But this is something that I would definitely like to talk about further on the channel if it improves.
This might actually be my return video under the new name.
Yay!
And again, I keep making promises that never come through. But if I can patch it together, and I don't know if I can, but I'd like to do a feature-length video when this season is done.
Do it at the end. Yeah, gives you plenty of time. But I didn't take notes and do it. That'll be brilliant. That'll be a great comeback video. And you don't even have to do the ranty stuff.
Because my life is insane otherwise, but it might. We'll see what happens.
Oh, that'll be interesting. But yeah, look, guys, don't take our word for it, though. My advice to you is still this, right? You've heard our opinions, and we haven't given any major spoilers away at all. But my advice is, if you are a fan of Trek, but you aren't really sure about this, the best thing is to just take the plunge, watch it, and see how you feel about it. And if it's something that you like, all well and good. And if it's something that you don't like, well, then there's no harm, no foul. You've only watched one episode. But my advice, my recommendation, actually, we do recommendations, on this channel, on these streams. So my recommendation would be actually Picard Season 3. And also season 26 of South Park, episode 2.
That show's still on? Damn.
Oh my God. They just ripped the piss out of Meghan and Harry in the most... Oh, South Park's back. By the way, I just want to let you know that South Park has been a bit shit over the last couple of years. It's had a couple of decent episodes in between seasons, but the last couple of seasons have been a bit bad. But this is back to form. They literally destroy Harry and Meghan Markle in the second episode. It is, I'm telling you, this is South Park back in the old days. You are going to be pissing yourself laughing. You have to check it out. It's the funniest thing that I have watched in years. They actually have the Queen's funeral, but it's not the Queen of England, it's the Queen of Canada. But the casket is open and you can see the body, right? And then they have Harry and Meghan, right, who are holding up placards. Privacy, privacy, privacy. They move in the South Park, they do. It is fucking hilarious. If you haven't seen it, you have to check it out. It's one of the funniest things that I've seen in such a long time. You mean South Park destroyed them in the most beautiful, brilliant way? Absolutely, it was just. It's the best thing ever, man. And when they do an episode that's based on the Canadians, no offense, Chris, it is the funniest.
We're a joke. We were the joke.
Oh
of the South Park
my
movie. Anybody
God.
remember Blame Canada? And that's before Canada became what it is now. We were normal back then, sort of.
Seriously, man, you just have to watch it. I wish I could play a clip, but you know what YouTube's like. But I'd play a clip just to get you to watch, because if you've watched one little clip, I know for a fact you would check the episode out. It's the funniest thing ever. But is Lee still with us? Yeah. Chris.
Yeah.
No, Lee is still with us. Lee. Obviously, we've gotten all of that out of our systems now.
We've monopolized. Well, no, I came in late, but yes, we monopolized poor Lee for 2 hours and 26
but
minutes.
I'll be
Lee's
fair.
never going to come back again after this.
Nah, I'll be fair on him, right? So Lee, we have a classic Who Zone coming up, yeah, right? So I'll make it a deal. You can choose the Doctor and the story that we discuss on the classic Who Zone, because we didn't pick one. You could pick the story and the Doctor for classic Who Zone on Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, I think that's only fair, because in fairness, I did go off on my little rant. You did get about 15 minutes, and then Chris came in. He had his little rant. So I think it's fair that I let you pick this week's classic Who story, and you can let everybody know in the chat.
I think you should let Lee decide what we cover on this next week, since we completely monopolized.
Yeah,
the whole
and
thing.
if there's any topics that you want to cover, yeah, that's fair. You're right. If there's any topics that you want to cover next week, mate, you know what to do. Put them in the chat, but we'll let you take center stage. I do feel a bit bad to this week, actually, because literally I always give out to him. Lee, you better let people
that's
talk.
because we're both known for our tangents, and we both got on a tangent simultaneously.
So I will say sorry.
Yes, I apologize too. I feel like a duty head over here.
Right, but
Not good enough, fascist.
well, what else
bigots.
do you want? Well, what else will buy your loyalty again?
Well, you can go on for an hour about Panasonic, and I say nothing.
No, you just no, you don't know. You finally managed to keep Lee quiet. I know, but it's not fair. It hasn't been the same. He hasn't said much at all. It's not fucking fair. He got
Noel went on a 40-minute rant.
Yeah, and then he went on an hour. So hold on, his rant was longer than mine, though. So
Well, no. In all defense,
technically,
no, I had a half hour.
See, they're
long
doing
rant.
it now.
Anyway, Lee, is there anything that you would like to add to anything that we were talking about tonight? We didn't even get into with Chris. We didn't even get into the Flash stuff. But do you want to go back to that stuff, because I did the Flash stuff, or do you want to talk about something else real quickly?
No, it'd be interesting to hear what Chris has to say. But I watched. I've given up at this point. No, I mean, I really loved that South Park skit with the Harry and Meghan. I thought that was fucking brilliant. I love that the Prince. Wow. The name of the book. Remember that? Like the ginger thing with the wow.
Yeah.
Okay, no one's answering me.
Yeah. The book, instead of what did he call a spare in real boy Quinn?
Yeah. That was so cool.
It's so fucking good, man.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be watching South Park just to catch it because I love South. I think it's like a good wine or a really good vinegar. You know, it just matures really well. I think it's the funniest it's ever been. It just gets funnier and funnier. At first, it was all sort of fart jokes and stuff. I mean, it's still got that in there, but I mean, it's much more satirical, I think, than it's ever been before, and it just gets
Do you
so
know what? I'm
savage. And it's
glad that the
really
creators
clever.
are still not afraid to rip the piss out of Ant and Lee. They are not. They
Mm.
don't seem to be worried about getting cancelled. They will take the piss out of literally anything, and they don't care what flack they get. I mean, imagine the generation that's outraged now would have grew up with this show. It's 26 seasons long, so that's nearly 26 years this show has been going on for. Like,
And unlike The
It's
Simpsons,
extraordinary. Yeah, well, don't talk about The Simpsons anymore.
yeah, that I stopped watching that after. Oh, jeez, I can't even remember.
like 20 years ago, and by then it was already
Probably.
decades old.
Didn't they kill off a poo or something?
I don't know, yeah, because they can't do that anymore. I don't know. I just didn't follow this stuff on.
Yeah, I think I heard that, but I haven't watched. So yeah, I haven't watched The Simpsons since.
Yeah, never mind.
They made them
Everything has
Canadian.
its
Yeah,
day.
they had to make them Canadian. They couldn't say that they were the British royal family. I mean, in the episode, they have, as I said, you have the Queen coming down in the casket, and the casket is open, and the Queen is like in a, like, it's not like lying down at, proper, like the way you would see people in a coffin. They have one leg up and one leg's down, the arms up, and the eyes have crosses. Like they literally don't give a crap. But it's the funniest thing. And then the Prince, Harry, and Meghan come in, and then you hear the crowd booing them, and then Smelly John does a. He's not called Elton John. He's called Smelly John, and he does a rip-off version of "Candle in the Wind" for the Queen. It's fucking funny. Oh my god! Oh, how they get away with it! I love it.
A lobster piggy came out to say he's sorry.
Ah, there's Lobster Piggy
Oh, Lobster Piggy.
back again.
We love Lobster
Yeah.
Piggy.
Chum fans 1, 2, 4, 3 says Anton Deck Saturday Night Takeaway is back. Haven't watched that in years, to be honest, but yeah, I do like Anton Deck. I do, and I used to like
I can't
Saturday Night
stand
Takeaway.
them.
But
Can't stand
I
them.
well, I-
Never be-
well, I
been able
grew
to
up
stand.
with them. They were in
Good.
weren't they were in Biker Grove, weren't they? So yeah,
Oh,
I
God,
and when they were what was it when they did the music together? PJ and Duncan. Well, Megan is technically Canadian, which is already bad enough, so Canada can take one. For
Dude,
the
my
team.
country's a meme. There's
Now, why does Canada have to take responsibility for Meghan Markle?
dude,
Nobody.
Canada's 1984. We just just we're all sad. We've given up on life.
Let's
looking
see.
Well, suddenly it's
silence.
silent.
Worldwide Privacy Tour. Yeah, that's what they called that. Yeah, they went around every state in America to give out about wanting privacy. I mean, it's the funniest piss take you'll ever see in the South Park episode. They were savage, but it was brilliantly done, as Chris said. Brilliantly done. It's one of the funniest episodes of South Park that I've seen personally in years, or found funny, to be quite honest. I mean, the pandemic ones were funny, but they weren't really that great. So I keep an eye on South Park because I do love when they rip the pit. My favorite episode is still the Kanye West one. That'll always forever be the greatest piss take of all time. And they have him doing the music video. That Kanye West thinks he's a gay fish and jumps into the ocean at the end. They do the whole song, take the piss out of Kanye. It's called Gay Fish, the song. You can listen to it on YouTube. Go and listen to it. It's the funniest thing ever. big news. It was the Brits last night. Got to be honest with you, I've lost all. The Brits stopped being good. The late 90s, mid 90s, I think was the height of the Brits, and then after that, then it just became a joke. And
Is that
every
the
year,
dude where that desperate for attention singer?
oh, you mean this guy? Hold on, yeah, because I have to put this up. Actually, we've got a couple of funny things that we can end the stream on, right? So we don't end on a negative note, as they say. But yeah, it is. I don't know if anybody's seen Sam Smith's red carpet costume for the Brit Awards. It's something to behold. I don't see. Here's the thing: a lot of people are attacking Sam Smith, right? I've got a slightly different take. I do think he is a bit of an idiot, but this is a guy. Clearly, you see Sam Smith when he first burst onto the scene. He was quite a handsome man, yeah? But you could tell that the guy had personal issues. He had mental health problems.
Yeah,
And to me, this just seems to be a symptom of this. It's been what?
He's surrounded by bad
Yes,
bad
bad
This
people.
is what happens when you enable it.
That's it. And this is what you get. And this is what he turned up in the Brit Awards. It doesn't even look comfortable. I mean,
How do you sit down in that?
I don't know. I think he takes it off because he performs at the Brits. So obviously there's something. He either has another.
Yeah, it's just for the red carpet.
I think it was just for the red carpet. But I mean, look, David Bowie, right? Prince, Freddie Mercury. They've all wore outrageous costumes.
Yeah, but with style.
They didn't do it. But they didn't do
it.
it. Yeah, but they didn't do it for attention seeking.
Oh,
right?
they did.
No, not in the way. Not in the
were
way
good
that
at it.
Not in the way that Sam Smith is using it for. Right? They did it, and they became cultural icons. They wanted to change. You know what I mean? They were icons, so they wanted. They knew anything they wore would be iconic. That sort of way. Where he's wearing this is for attention. You seen what he did in the Grammys, dressed as a devil. Now, Christians over in that country are rightly angry. People that, right, okay, I'm not religious anymore, but you got to respect people's religion. You know what I mean? And he's going over there dressed as a devil just to be controversial. He's not doing it for any other reason but to be controversial. But his mental health is playing out for everybody to see, just like we seen with Britney Spears a few years back. It plays out in the public eye, and it's not nice to see. You can clearly see the downfall of this guy. If you see a picture of him, I'll show you a picture of him. Sorry about this article. This is what these articles do now. They throw a load of ads up to stop you from reading them, which is ridiculous. But I'll show you what Sam Smith looked like when he jumped onto the scenes, right? And the difference in this guy is astounding, right? I'll show you now, right? This is him when he burst onto the scenes, and I'll show you a photograph of him now, just recently at some concert or something he was at. Right, so this is him now, right? You see what Madonna looks like now and what she used to look like, right? You see a player. This is what I'm saying. You see.
You look at if you can find the picture. There's a picture of Susanna Hoff from the Bangles next to a picture of Madonna. She's 1 year younger than Madonna, and she's not had it like loads of work done, and she looks fantastic. She looks like she's in her early 30s.
So there's Sam Smith when he burst onto the scenes, like. Right, as I said, quite a handsome bloke, right? Had the world at his feet. Don't care what anybody says, right? Whether you agree with the way he's doing things now, he's a great singer. He is. He's got talent, right? But that's what he looked like when he burst onto the scenes. This is what he looks like now. Hold on, right?
It's like a trussed up beef, you know,
I
Yeah.
ham
just
brisket or something.
Yeah, I
That's-
just
yeah, yeah. Good lord.
this is sad. It is sad because he's being enabled by other people too, and nobody is helping him, and he needs help basically. And BBC want me to create a free account. You can go and kiss my ass. I'm still not going to give you anything, but there he is now.
I was thinking of the one where he's wearing that rope stuff. That's really disturbing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's in the music. Yeah. But there he is now.
Oh yeah,
He's
no,
completely-
this is what happens. There are evil people out there trying to push an agenda.
Yeah, they're using him.
And
He's being used by an industry that doesn't care about
No,
him.
they don't care about
it's
him.
people who want to push the non-binary thing and all this kind of stuff. But they're
How old
using
is
him
he?
because it clearly has mental health issues, and it's so clearly obvious that he's been not railroaded. I mean, he's been manipulated. There's no
Yeah.
two ways about it. And I know very types of people that are behind that. You know, I used to hang around with Steve Strange and the former Blitz Kids people and on the London club scene a few years ago. And I knew these people. I knew these London fashionistas and stuff. You know, we all used to dress up and all that kind of stuff, but it was all dress up. It wasn't like pushing a message or anything like that. It was just having fun. But now this is being politicized, and you're celebrating mental health rather than actually, instead of celebrating mental health, which is what this is. You need to really focus on stopping the enabling of people with mental health and manipulating them and using them for political purposes, and instead tackle mental health, because this is a big massive problem in our culture where we're sort of funneled into celebrating it rather than actually tackling it. And I find that is very distasteful. I think this is also going to do a lot of damage to the LGBT thing, because it's sending out such a over-sexualized, nothing matters, nihilistic message. You know, it pushes on healthy body image, it pushes on healthy sex obsession, it pushes on unhealthy mental health issue, the gender woo cult. It's a perfect storm. And then when you dress people up in red, like we've seen everyone like on the red carpet dressing in red all of a sudden, like hellfire and satanic stuff. I mean, look, that Illuminati stuff is so 2000s, right? It's just, look, get over it. No one's impressed. It's just stupid. It just looks like pantomime. And everyone, you know, I know what they're doing it. They're doing it to get up the noses of the religious right, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. That's the entire reason for doing it. But it's not helping anybody. It's not helping us. It's not changing anyone's attitude towards gay people or trans people. It's making it worse. By doing that, you're not helping to integrate into society. You're not helping make a cohesive society. You're creating a them and us situation. And using people like this as a figurehead for that is divisive and dangerous. And when the backlash happens, and it can easily happen, because we've seen it throughout history, when, in ancient China, ancient Greece, Nazi Germany, all these things, you see the backlash against gay, lesbians, and, now trans people. And it's not going to be good.
No.
And they've really got themselves to blame. And I and others like me are going to be swept up in it. And I'm not looking forward to it. That's why I'm very, very vocal about this kind of stuff, because it is damaging. It is damaging to our image. It makes everything look dangerous to everyone else who's not in that umbrella. I don't believe there should be an umbrella. I think gay issues are very different to lesbian issues. I think lesbian and gay issues are different to trans issues. And a lot of people of the TQ plus are basically heterosexual, mostly, I have to say. nothing to do with me, in that sense. And it's a mess. And we're trying to, a lot of people like me are trying to extricate ourselves out of this because we see the warning signs. We see where this is headed. We don't like it. It's a homophobic cult as well that's overtaken the LGBT thing. And people like Sam Smith are being used for promoting this thing. And I am not on board with that. A lot of people are not on board with that, who are trapped under this so-called umbrella, and we want to get out of it. We keep saying we don't want this. This has nothing to do with us, and it's scary. Especially when now everything is referred to as queer. No, I don't accept that word. That word was ringing in my ears as I was being stomped on and spat on in the 90s. Right? That word. People talk about triggering words and PTSD. That shit is for real for me. And when I see it being used by straight people in the media, referring to gay artists or non-binary T people or Q people or whatever, it's always under that queer thing, and that really pisses me off. I cannot tell you. And they don't care. This is the thing. This is the sociopathy of this political movement, and it is a political movement. It's got nothing to do with sexuality at all anymore. They're trying to erase homosexuality because we're same-sex attracted. Now they're trying to demonize that and call that a far-right dog whistle, believe it or not. Because we're not interested in heterosexual
Everything
sex.
is far right nowadays, isn't it?
Everything, yeah. So ultimately, this is very much indicative of that, and I do find it very troublesome. I just don't want any part of this, and you have to,
By the way, there was a bit of a backlash. You're talking about backlashes and stuff. Well, there was a backlash to his actual performance on the Grammys because a video has surfaced of an Irish woman in New York who sees Sam Smith, and she calls him the P word, which I'm not going to actually mention because we can't on YouTube. But that was horrible for her to say. A lot of people were praising her. No, you shouldn't be praising that. That's homophobia. Also, she's making false accusations, or she's making accusations without any proof. She called them that.
But you see what I mean? They're courting this. They're courting. Yeah. Look, this is on his own. Well, not his head, on his people's head, and he has to take some responsibility for this as well. He has invited this. Okay, you act all provocatively. You do the most outrageous provocative things you can. You do a video which is so sexualized, involving things that look like someone's peeing in his mouth, and you put that on YouTube, which is available for kids to watch. You are going to open yourself up to this kind of abuse, and frankly, I think it's quite well deserved. I'm sorry. I don't agree necessarily with the choice of words, but that anger that has been created was due to him and the people behind him. And you have to take ownership of that. We've been singing like canaries in the bloody coal mine for ages about this kind of thing, that this is going to come back on us. And it started. That is just the tip of the iceberg. And who's to blame? Themselves. You can't then go, oh, all of a sudden there's a rise in homophobia and, queer phobia, if that's going to be a thing I expect now. And all this because, well, you've agitated deliberately to create a scenario where you get a backlash. So then you can point fingers and go, look how oppressed we are by pushing and pushing and pushing. And then when someone snaps and has a go in public, it's oh, look, see, like everyone's been homophobic suddenly. Everyone's being transphobic. Everyone's been, because they're being primed to believe this, but they're not accepting any responsibility for why that is. You see what I mean? And that is something I'm just consciously aware of. I'm seeing it unfold. Yeah. I know what's going on. I can see it very clearly. Right, especially when you're inside looking out, you can see everything. And when you try and stand outside and look in, it all I can say is people within this so-called LGBT whatever, we need more people to peak and to say no to this. This does not represent us. This is not indicative of our culture. We've been railroaded by a cult, effectively, the gender woo cultists, the TQ plus, effectively heterosexuals in our movement, trying to rewrite our history, inserting trans people into the Stonewall riots when there were none. They are erasing us from our own history. We've been called bigots because we're same-sex attracted, which is now a far-right dog whistle. We're told we're transphobic if we don't choose to sleep with someone with a vagina. This is the kind of insidious attempt to crush dissent within in order to dominate and then become a supremacist movement. Effectively, that's what it is. It is a new supremacist movement, and you're an evil Yahtzee, bigot, racist, transphobe, whatever, on the planet if you dissent.
Yeah.
You know, I've been called a Yahtzee again tonight. You know.
That Sam Smith video was actually in the chat there. Lee, I've sent it to our private chat on Twitter as well if you want to have a look at it. But you do make a point. Look, I get what you're saying. Obviously, you know, I think you make a valid point when you say he is so controversial, did what he did, and then if someone like that woman then is screaming those sorts of things at him, he could say, "Oh, look at me, look what happened to me," and play the victim. I get where you're coming from, but again, you know,
you elicit anger because you've provoked anger.
Yeah.
It's true. No point poking a tiger with a stick and then complaining when it bites
them
you.
not to. Yeah. I get what you're saying. But he, as you did say, you made a valid point. He is being used. Is he too gone to realize that he's being used?
I think as long as the money's rolling in, and as long as the attention is coming, because obviously there's some sort of narcissistic thing going on. He's being validated. He's being funneled. He's being lauded. He's being given all the plaudits. He's being given all the applause. He's being told he's stunning and brave. He's getting all this attention and money, a lot of money, and deals because he's playing the game.
So you think
he gets rewarded.
So he's going with it, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think so. Yeah. Why would he not? You know, I mean, he doesn't have to do any work. He doesn't have to keep fit. He doesn't have to think about how he dresses. He has people doing that for him. He doesn't have to think about anything. All he has to do is sit there, take all the plaudits, and take all the money, all the fame, all the wealth, all the applause, and the cult following that he has.
By the way, did you know that he loves the fish?
It's all going to end in tears.
He loves the fish. He's
a fish of them.
Yeah, he's a fish of them.
They're a fish of them.
Yeah, they're a fish of them. I watched that interview.
Oh, what?
And I have to say, he even slipped up himself and nearly misgendered himself.
And I posted that when I showed the interview when he said he was a fish of them, because they said, "You like fishing?" Yeah, I'm a fish, and he did. He started. He said, "I'm a fish of them."
Yeah, fish of them.
And that was very telling.
Well, yeah.
It proves to me you're full of shit. It's full of shit. Yeah. It means he doesn't even believe it himself. He doesn't. If he misgendered himself, what the fuck? Why the fuck should I give a shit? Why should I try? When you can't even be bothered.
Turned on your woman on Good Morning Britain because she misgendered him when she was doing her report. She misgendered him and she got a bit of flack for that. But
because he's a man. Yeah, he's a man. He's a fucking man. Get over it. You are a man.
Yeah, he's a fisher then.
You can't go from one to the other. You know?
Yeah, he can't say fisherman because he's them. So he says fisher.
He's not a them. He's a he. End of story.
Yeah, well, he is a he, so it would be fisherman. But this is the confusing thing. But then here's the thing. Look, I don't mind if he wants to call himself them. That's not the issue here, right? The issue has
It's
always
forcing other
been that
people
people
to.
is people like Sam Smith, the media, and all these other celebrities trying to push it on us and label us too. No, sorry, you want to
Compelled
label
speech.
yourself. If you want to identify as a two-spirited penguin and call yourself he, him, she, her, or whatever, you
Knock
go
yourself
ahead.
out.
Knock yourself
But yeah,
out.
once you force compelled speech on people, and then call them a fascist if they disagree or they don't want to, that is sheer projection. Because ultimately, if you're forcing and compelling other people to behave the way you want them to,
Yeah.
you are the fascist.
Yeah,
Full
exactly.
stop.
Here, but see, PD Rich now has got me confused because he brings up a valid question. Isn't the correct term, and a point I should say, isn't the correct terminology Fisher person then? I don't know, man. This is the see. This
Fisher
is the thing.
people kind.
Sam Smith wants me to understand all of this, and people out there want me to understand all of this, and I can't even grasp it because it changes all the time. That's why I have a problem with it. Call yourself what you want, but don't force us all to try and. I'm sorry, man. It's ridiculous, right? Because people are going to be misgendered all the time, or people are going to get people's pronouns wrong all the time because they change them as quick as they change their underwear, right? That's the problem I have with it. They don't even stick to the pronouns that they originally come out with. They change. And Sam Smith was a big advocate for, just to let you know one thing that he did mess up on the Brit Awards. He was a big advocate for a non-gender category. Guess what happened? No women were voted in as the best artist because he thought there shouldn't be a male and female category. So they got rid of the male and female category. And guess what happened? Women suffered because of it. All the nominees, all the nominations were men. Right? It's just, he just needs, they just need to just get on with your life, man. So the people around him are absolutely disgusting and should be ashamed of themselves. But as Lee said himself, I suppose he probably knows that he's being used, and if the money is rolling in, I suppose he's more than prepared to be used. But I see a man that clearly needs to talk to someone, has some issues, some resolved issues that need sorting out. And I think if he did sort those issues out and sort himself and try find himself, he wouldn't be tolerating all of this nonsense. To be quite honest, he could reinvent himself because that's how good of an artist I actually think he is. He doesn't need all that bravado. He doesn't need to be doing all the controversial stuff. He just doesn't need it. He's got the talent. But nowadays, talent can only get you so far. But here, I don't want to end the stream on a bit of a downer. So I have something funny to show you. Is another clip that was on Twitter, which is absolutely hilarious. Now, remember last week we showed you the one from, what was it? It was from Rwanda TV or something, where they were saying that they were going to go to the moon, or they were going to send a rocket to the moon, or to the sun, but they couldn't get. But NASA said it couldn't happen because the sun was too hot. But they were going to go at night time. Well, I've got another funny video to show you this week, except this video was on Sky News, because as you know, there's a bunch of idiots out there, right, who follow this child who apparently is supposed to be an expert on the climate. You know who I'm talking about, Miss Greta Thunberg, right?
Oh, well, released a book.
So yeah, well, she's released a book, but fuck her book, because this is funny. So as you know,
a book that requires paper, trees to be cut down to make the paper, shrink wrapped in plastic to be then trucked about the world and put on ships and planes and trucks, which cost money and fuel and use fuel, fossil fuel. Some bullshit.
Yeah, but listen, right, besides all of that, right, she doesn't give a fuck about the environment. As I said, she's more concerned, our cult is more concerned about the climate than they are the environment. They don't say the amount of environmental damage to all of these things that they propose actually do. But as you know, we've had these climate change protesters being thrown tomato soup on famous paintings and stuff like that. Well, they've struck again, or so they thought. And this clip that I'm about to show you just tells you that they lack all intelligence. And this man is being interviewed on Sky News, right? And this fella is an absolute fucking legend. This is the funniest shit that you are gonna hear from anybody on Sky News, right? And this fella wins the year with this, right? I'm even laughing now because I even know this is a 10-second clip, but the end of this clip is the funniest thing. Now, when you hear the journalist to him, and when you hear his response, right, and you'll see why I'm actually laughing, right? Because this is the funniest shit ever. Here we go.
What are they achieving?
But what they're saying is they want maximum disruption to stop the government extracting oil and gas.
Yeah, but that's cooking oil.
To stop the government extracting oil and gas.
Yeah, but that's cooking oil.
They want maximum disruption to stop the government extracting oil and gas.
Yeah,
I need that in my life. We're doomed. We're all doomed.
They thought it was an oil truck that was cooking.
Oh well, yeah, they're dumb. Oh, and Petey Rich just, or who just brought this up? Somebody brought it up in the chat. Yeah, Petey Rich. Yeah. So Red Letter Media just put out their review of Picard season 3, episode 1. Oh, this is going to be good. Well, I know what I'm doing.
Oh my god, it was cooking oil. They thought they were actually hijacking a fucking
I was
oil
away
truck.
there for a second. Was that our friend Greta?
No, here. Oh, I'll put this on again because it doesn't matter how many times you watch this video. It's funny every fucking time. I'm actually nearly crying here. Oh my god. The punchline, it's just so brilliant. I wasn't even expecting it. I'm like, this is just gonna be some fella like just ranting, and then he comes up with the best line of the year. I'm telling you. Oh man, I'm dying.
You got to send me that and DM. Send me that.
I will. I think it is in DM. Hold on. I think that's where I got it from, was the DMs, but I think it's in the. Hold on. Ooh, I have to calm down. That. Oh no! No, seriously. What he tried to achieve? Well, this ain't the government. This but it's cooking oil.
God, he's lost it.
Oh my god! Here we go. I got it. I can't even look at me. I can't keep a straight face. Oh please. Oh man. This is fucking hilarious. I just, this man's a legend. Someone give him a fucking here. If so, you know the way they knight people? This fella should be knighted, man. Give him a knighthood. I'm fucking serious. Oh, this fella is a legend. I don't even know who he is, but he's going to be, seriously, people are going to be buying this fella a pint. Oh, hold on. Right. This was on Sky News UK, by the way. Someone asked, was it Australia? No, it was the UK. This is what makes it even funnier, because Sky News Australia is a bit of a whack job channel, but like it actually does tell some good stories. But this is, I'm prepared myself. I'm big screen and hold on. But right, I need to. Right, here we go. Lee, are you ready for this as well again?
I'm ready.
Right, here we go.
What are they achieving?
But what they're saying is they want maximum disruption to stop the government extracting oil and gas.
Yeah, but that's cooking oil. What are they achieving?
But what they're saying is they want maximum disruption to stop the government extracting oil and gas.
Yeah, but that's cooking oil. What are they achieving?
But what they're saying is they want maximum disruption.
He's a
to stop the
legend.
government
Buy him a
extracting
pint
oil
if
and
anybody
gas.
knows
Yeah, but
that
that's
man.
cooking
Buy him a pint. Seriously, man.
What ain't shaving?
One more
But what
time.
they're saying is they want maximum disruption to stop the government extracting oil and gas.
Yeah, but that's cooking what ain't shaving?
But what they're saying
Oh,
is they
stop. I can't take any more. Oh, that fella. Someone better buy him a drink. If you see him out on the street, man, buy that man a pint. What the fuck? But seriously, those climate protesters, they thought it was an oil truck. It was a cooking oil truck.
That was a fun thing to end things. And I may have to
It
leave
was.
shortly because
Oh,
Puppy is
oh.
not happy. Puppy
Oh,
mad at me.
seriously, right? Oh, Cheryl's going to think I'm going to die or something. What's going on here? Oh, man. Right, I'll send that to you. Oh, well. Oh, that is a legend, man. Oh, seriously,
found it,
man.
I found
the
it.
cooking oil
Oh.
that causes flares.
Oh, man.
Well, no, it's bad. It's bad for your cholesterol, so you don't want the cooking oil.
Yeah,
I don't use
but
cooking oil
but still, they thought they were actually hijacking an oil truck, and it was a
They're idiots.
fucking oil truck. Was a difference. What a bunch of fucking idiots! I tell you, listen, right. The one thing that these climate change people will be known for is their stupidity. Right, the climate is going to change anyway. We're already seeing it. Right, we're seeing changes with the earth. We're seeing that big, massive earthquake. There's going to be more of them. There's more volcanic eruptions. Listen, there's change happening, and nothing that Greta and her cult do is going to change what happens. So, Greta, just go bleeding home. All right, and the rest of you little lunatics, stop fucking hijacking cooking oil trucks, you fucking idiots. Oh, man. Right, let's do, Chan. We'll leave it there for tonight. I think that is the perfect way to end the stream. So we'll do the channel shout outs. So we will start with Cultivated Media. Chris.
Hi, I'm Howard.
Oh yeah, I
Quack, quack.
see you've got the Howard the Duck fucking.
I've had Howard up for an hour. But
Oh,
yes, the quack.
well,
quack.
I haven't noticed because I've been paying attention to the chat, but I've just seen it now. That it doesn't annoy me as it used to see. I got
It's okay. Well, quack quack. Things and stuff. Watch Picard and check out as soon as I'm done with this and I take my puppy out for a constitutional. I'm checking out Red Letter Media's video because that's actually the one that I think a lot of people have been waiting for. It's like it was up for like 5 minutes and it had 20,000 views. I wish I could have had traffic like that. That's like
yeah, don't we all?
yeah.
Don't we all? People that deserve it. That's exactly the way it should be, but the world's not built that way. So
They probably the most honest channel out there, which is why they overshadow, except for maybe Drinker, everybody else's channels combined,
yeah,
and they've been at that level for over a decade. So yeah,
that's brilliant. Lee.
Yeah, you can find me at The Problem Being on Twitter, and Aldred Audiovisual is my channel.
Grant, and I don't think I did let Chris actually do out his shout outs because he was talking about Red Letter Media.
no,
so go ahead.
that's my shout out, Noel.
All right.
No, I retract my shout out from last week because I got 10 minutes. That was you, season 4. I managed to 10 minutes into the episode. It takes place at a modern university with Zoomers of the type you could imagine, and I'm like, I can't watch this so far. But no. So my recommendation, if you want to see like a, just check out Red Letter Media's review. That's my recommendation because that's what I'm doing.
Nicholas Horton has something to say to you.
Oh, he's still mad at me, Nicholas. He's last time I heard from him, he was lecturing in maybe yelling and poking people in Africa, something about toxicity, and he's not coming back until I stop being a jerk, and he got a new hat.
You got a new hat. Great.
Well, it's Africa. You don't want him to burn his.
No, I suppose not. Well, he would make some lovely chops.
No, dude, he knows kung fu. You don't want to piss him off.
Okay. Okay. Well, that is it for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this stream. I know I have. I don't know, Chris probably has. Not quite sure about Lee, because we didn't give him a chance to really talk. But
We were assholes.
actually,
That's why Lee
but,
gets to head
but
the next
before we
stream.
do go, I did say to you could pick the Doctor story and the Doctor. So have you decided so we can let the audience know what's coming on Wednesday's Classic Who's on at 6:30?
Time lash.
Drum roll.
No, we did that one. City of Death.
Okay. So, Classic Who's on, City of Death, Tom Baker. Come and join us. One of my favourites, actually, the Mona Lisa one. I love that one. It's a fucking great story, actually. Actually, it's an epic story. You might have watched that now. Thank you.
I love him.
Yeah,
He's so violent.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I actually like it, man. It's the one Doctor Who story that I sit down, I'll lie down now and watch, actually, and be engrossed in. So, yeah. So there you go. That's what we're going to do on Wednesday. Mondays, we got New Who's on. We continue where Peter Capaldi. We're on Before the Flood episode, and then Under the Lake is the week after. Wednesday, we've already covered Wednesdays. Friday, then we have the TARDIS Zone at 5:45, and then TARDIS Zone's Friday. What am I doing? Zone Talks Friday. Yeah, and then Friday night contact here, 9 o'clock with the lads here. And next week, Lee obviously will have a few topics, and we'll let him have a bit more say next week. And we will talk a little bit about Faulty Towers and stuff like that, because they're talking about bringing that back and stuff, and we can talk about it in great detail. Right, lamb chops are nice, says Nicholas. Don't say anything about lamb chops around Professor Dingles. He'll, as I said,
He's a goat.
Chris says he knows kung fu.
Victimizes lambs. He bullies them.
He knows kung fu apparently. So
Yeah, he's a tough goat. And he's got anger issues.
Well, he is the goat, because there's no other goat out there that knows how to do kung fu. So he's the goat.
Exactly.
So there you go. Chris Persia says that was great. Thank you, Noel, Lee, and Chris. You're more than welcome, Chris, and thank you for keeping the chat safe for everybody. It's nice being optimistic for once. Thanks, Terry, Matt, and Trey, says PD Rich. And Scottish Davros and friends wrestle with pop culture with all the laugh emojis. Yeah, I think we'd all go off happy now after that video. But Jesus Christ, man, fair play to him. That was fucking bang on. Oh man, I have to show. Cheryl hasn't seen that yet. I have to show her that.
Oh, it's quality.
It is. Right, good night, folks. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday. And until then, stay safe, look after yourselves, and we will talk to you soon. Good night.
Good night.
Toodles.